Morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A surfer is lucky to be alive after being bitten by a shark on the leg not once but twice while riding the waves off Kangaroo Island. The man, aged in his 50s, had the close encounter with the bronze whaler yesterday at D'Estrées Bay. He was able to drive himself to hospital and underwent emergency surgery. There was a shark attack at the same spot in 2020. Well, Donald Trump insists serious negotiations are ongoing to end the war in Gaza as Israel marked 2 years since the October 7 Hamas attacks. Mimi Becker reports.
It is now the second day of peace deal negotiations in Cairo. Representatives are trying to secure the Israeli hostage release in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. At the same time, people have been gathering at the site of the Nova Music Festival and Hostages Square in Tel Aviv to mark 2 years since Hamas's deadly attack on Israel. Friends and relatives of the victims paying tribute with photos and flowers. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says the death toll has risen to more than 67,000 people, while residents say they're cautiously optimistic a peace deal will be reached despite ongoing heavy bombing from tanks and planes.
Credit card debt in Australia rose by $177 million in August. RBA data shows the nation's total personal credit card debt has reached $17.9 billion. CanStar's Sally Tyndall says debt is increasing as short-term relief from tax returns dries up.
We've seen the value of card transactions really start to climb as well, and with sale season starting, we've already got sale periods like Amazon Big Deal Days currently in play.
Almost $200 million in unpaid superannuation has been recovered over the past financial year by construction industry fund Cbus Super. The money was recovered on behalf of 180,000 members. The total amount of unpaid super retrieved over the past 5 years now totalling nearly $700 million. Mass killer Julian Knight has been moved to a country jail. Madeline Burke reports from Melbourne.
In 1987, Julian Knight opened fire with a military-grade semi-automatic rifle in Hoddle Street, killing 7 people and injuring 19. He spent 38 years in maximum security. But after years of lobbying, his case has been reviewed. And while he was found to be deceptive and manipulative, he was not judged a flight risk. Knight has been moved to Loddon Prison, which Corrections Victoria describes as a campus-style prison with landscaped grounds offering programs and activities that closely resemble those available in the general community.
And the countdown to Carols by Candlelight at Elder Park is underway. It's been announced Marina Pryor will be a performer for the first time this year. The carols will be held on December 13. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. We're going to start with football. We're set to enter day 3 of the trade period. And the Crows are interested in landing Bulldogs midfielder Riley Sanders. The 20-year-old played 21 games this season but was left out of the club's final game of the year and is seen as a genuine midfield target. Meantime, Brandon Starcevic is set to become an Eagle, while Sam Flanders looks set to find his way from Gold Coast to St Kilda. Well, fast bowler Josh Hazlewood will drop out of Australia's T20 series against India to prepare for the Ashes. Hazlewood was named in the squad for the upcoming series, but wants to play a Sheffield Shield game for the Blues before he confronts England.
This year, I think we're obviously going to miss a couple of T20s to do that, which I certainly don't like doing, missing games for Australia. But in the long run, I guess it's about getting the best prep for the Ashes as well. So you can't have everything, and that's sort of the trade-off at the moment.
Meantime, teammates Pat Cummins and Travis Head have reportedly knocked back mega offers to walk away from Australian cricket, reportedly offered nearly $10 million a year to play franchise T20 cricket. That would be full-time. And South Australia has gone down in its opening Sheffield Shield match to start the season, losing by 4 wickets against Victoria. Chasing 231 to win, the Vics chased down the target in the final hour of the final day. And Oscar Piastri has reportedly already set his sights on leaving McLaren for rival Formula One team Ferrari in 2027 as frustration brews over unfair treatment with teammate Lando Norris. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
A shower or two and 20 today, the same tomorrow. Friday, a shower or two, 21, back to 20 on Saturday. Right now, it's 11 degrees on FIVEAA, always Adelaide.
When it comes to reducing pain and rebuilding strength, FIVEAA leaves nothing to chance. Our university-qualified health professionals don't just treat problem areas. They design personalised training programs using Swiss-engineered machines unique to FIVEAA. These machines safely isolate the affected area, test your strength, and help rebuild your muscles for a stronger, more active and healthier life. FIVEAA, building strength with precision in Norwood.
Hi, it's Tom Burlinson here. Looking forward to returning to the gorgeous Capri Theatre in Goodwood, this time with a marvellous orchestra, in my show, Swingin' the Great Standards. There'll be songs and stories of the greatest composers and lyricists of the Great American Songbook, and more modern, much-loved hits. Come to the Capri for Swing with Strings in Swingin' the Great Standards on Friday the 7th of November. Hope to see you there.
At Holistic Care SA, care is just the beginning. They focus on building capacity, helping people with disability develop the skills, support and confidence they need for independent living.
Holistic Care SA helps our clients make sense of their NDIS plans, understand your options and connect with the right services, not just the available ones. But sometimes doing the simple things and getting out of the house is all that's needed. Every Thursday, Holly enjoys inviting clients to take part in group activities and excursions. These could include pizza and a film, 10-pin bowling, strawberry picking, various arts and crafts.
For a friendly chat about support with independent living or social group activities, visit holisticcaresa.com.au, because everyone deserves the chance to become who they're meant to be.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo, Friday 11th and Saturday 12th of October at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach. See South Australia's leading dealerships, Cameron Caravans, Adelaide RV, JB Caravans Adelaide, Great Southern RV, Offline Campers, and Jayco Adelaide, proudly showcasing over 13 Australian-made RVs from the nation's best manufacturers. Check out displays from G'day Parks, ARB and more. Visit the Cooper's Camp Kitchen and celebrate what it means to be built here, backed here. October 11th and 12th. Visit AustralianCaravans.com.au.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
Live from Hindmarsh Square, it's 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 8th of October. We're taking you to Lake Eyre shortly. It's been flooded and looking spectacular, but the water's beginning to evaporate. So if you wanted to ever get there to see Lake Eyre in flood, our Outback pilot, Trevor Wright's going to be on very shortly, and I think he's going to say you need to get in fast. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, the government's knife amnesty wrapped up. More than 3,000 knives, machetes and swords have all been surrendered. We'll talk to the Attorney-General about whether that constitutes success for that particular policy. And then a little bit later in the morning, Sean Fuster's going to join us. We'll go around the courts. We've got David Koch on the program from the Port Adelaide Football Club. And we're going to chat with some parents and also the CEO of the Education Standards Board about the... I tell you what, this would be an absolutely upheaval in your world if you're a parent relying on the Edge Early Learning Centre at Plympton. It has been closed, of course, because of those allegations regarding the insufficient supervision of children. They've been extended now into next year. Now, good luck trying to find an alternative if you're a parent. We're going to be speaking with the mother on after 7 o'clock this morning. That's a big story. Love you to be part of the show, 8223 0000. We'll jump on the police home care text line. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, what a nightmare for those families, although I would say that rather than pointing, break the habit of a lifetime, let's not blame the government for this.
No, of course not.
I reckon these childcare centres need to get their house in order.
Well, it's sort of caught betwixt and between as a parent. I mean, obviously they'd like the childcare option to be there, but they'd also like it to be compliant.
Yeah, that's right.
With basic things like supervising kids.
This Edge company, I reckon they're having a shocker. They won't pop their head up behind the parapet to reassure anyone that they're okay. They seem to be knee-jerk and responsive to everything that comes out. Anyway, we'll get into that later. Now, Will, you're a man who gives no quarter in a contest with a fish.
What about where this is going.
What about, for those who don't know, Will was attacked by a Titan triggerfish.
Yeah, correct.
Titan triggerfish.
Still have the scars.
Yeah. Do you really still have the scar?
No, not really.
It was in Mauritius, wasn't it?
Only emotionally.
So, the Seychelles.
Maldives.
The Maldives. I knew it was that neck of the woods. It looked like a sort of leather jacket on steroids, didn't it?
Yeah, it's
that
a big, ugly fish with buck teeth. It looks like the kind of thing you don't want to bite you.
Like the drag queen of the deep.
You talk about it in the context of the heroism of the guy off KI at Destries Bay who got bitten by a shark twice and then drove himself to hospital. The thing that made my story, and the reason you repeatedly bring it up, is not because it was an act of heroism, but it was the exact opposite. Because there was this tiny reef shark that was in the vicinity when I was swimming that I'd seen out of the corner of my eye, and it went behind me. And then
that would scare the hell out of any normal person.
I got the chomp on the back of my leg, and to say the reaction was anything approaching heroic would be the greatest incident of overstatement in human history. I panicked, David Penberthy, and charged to the beach.
Well, I think you're being too hard on yourself. If I'd seen a shark, I would have done exactly the same thing, and I reckon all of our listeners would.
This guy, though, is unbelievable.
Not the guy on Kangaroo Island.
He drove himself to hospital.
And look,
is that a commentary on ramping?
Yeah, maybe. Might be a commentary on how many ambulances they've got on Kangaroo Island as well.
Absolutely.
But so he was at, is it Destries Bay? One of the least populated parts of KI.
The sewer is what they call the swimming spot there, I believe.
The sewer? Why is that?
I don't want to know.
The mind boggles. No, well, it would, certainly being KI, it wouldn't be because it's polluted, because KI is absolutely pristine. So just looking at the map of Kangaroo Island, for those of you who, like me, went there and sort of stayed in the more bushy confines of the island beach, Penashore, American River Triangle, it's not far away from there, actually. It's on that southern cape, sort of on the other side around from, Pennington Bay? Did you drive to Pennington Bay? Now, seeing the waves at Pennington Bay, two things that strike you on the south side of KI. You're looking towards Antarctica, aren't you? There's nothing to stop you from, like, if you walked into the water, you would end up in Antarctica. But when you go to, like, Seal Bay, you think, how many bloody sharks are in there? I reckon it must be just have cojones of steel to want to go surfing in that water.
There is remarkable vision that Sky had this morning of what they believe to be the shark attack. Someone was filming the guy surfing. He's the only guy out there. And the shark is clearly chasing a seal. And the seal's jumping out of the water and the shark's swimming towards it. And then the surfer just happened to be between the two of them. And for a second, the shark stops. It's lost sight of the seal because the seal was going way at a rate of knots. And then clearly it goes, oh, hang on, there it is. And it was the guy on the surfboard. But it was just really, because it was all playing out next to him. He wasn't involved in this life or death chase.
So it was like a mistaken identity.
Completely mistaken identity. They think it was a bronze whaler that might have done it.
That was going after a seal.
That was going after a seal, yeah.
I wonder if he had a black wetsuit on.
Good question. Well,
he would have.
Flinders University just pioneered the new anti-shark wetsuits, haven't they?
Yeah. But isn't the theory that black wetsuits make you look like a seal?
Yeah, that's it. Just to look at the vision, the untrained eye would say that's precisely what's happened in this case. We're asking you this morning for the James Blunt tickets about your run-ins with wildlife. What? It doesn't have to be I was bitten twice by a shark and drove myself to the hospital level, but if it is, you're probably going to James Blunt. But it might be you were bitten by an aggressive small fish.
Would it be things like when I was about 7 on a end of year Flinders Medical Centre biochemistry department Christmas family day? That's where Dad used to work when the hospital started. I was eating a banana paddle pop at Cleveland, and there's, pelicans walk from side to side like they're, going to hustle you. Pelican, I got my whole head in a pelican, in the sack of a pelican, because it came after me wanting my paddle pop. It bit me on the head, the pelican.
The pelican, what, and your head was inside the jaws of the pelican?
I was in the sack, the underjaw. I can remember it distinctly.
How old were you at the time?
About 6 or 7.
That's extraordinary.
My mum will vouch for this.
That might be the only hostile interaction humans and penguins have ever had.
No, pelican.
I was a pelican. Right, yeah. I'm with you.
That
makes more sense.
Big baggy thing?
Yeah. Where they catch the fish. I was going to say a penguin. Makes no sense.
I reckon heaps of our listeners will have been at least chased by a pelican.
Yeah, pelicans are can be nasty things.
Yeah, they got those big eyes.
Yeah.
Like
They've hate in their hearts.
They're onto you.
8223 you text us on the Police Home Care text line about your run-ins with wildlife, and it could win you James Blunt tickets. He's back in Adelaide on the 28th of October for just one night playing the Back to Bedlam tour. He's the whole album in its entirety. You can get tickets at destroyallions.com. Get calling with your stories. We've got some news headlines coming up.
Harris Scarf mid-season sale is on now. Save 40 to 60% off cookware and kitchenware, plus 30 to 50% off air fryers by Smith & Noble. Hurry, sale ends soon. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Our nurses and midwives are at breaking point. Every day we help South Australians through their most vulnerable moments. But right now we're being pushed to the limit with feelings of burnout, fatigue and being undervalued. Respectful wages and safe working conditions are about valuing us and also ensuring there are enough nurses and midwives to provide the care you deserve. Support those who care for you. Visit respectnursesandmidwives.com. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars, ANMFSA, Lytton, South Australia.
You ever find insurance confusing, whether it's for your car, home, investment property or boat? Sometimes you just want to speak to a real person. Well, guess what? That's where RAA can help.
With a dedicated call centre in Mile End and shops across SA, RAA are all about genuine conversations with their members. Whether you get a quote online, over the phone or in person, you'll always receive friendly, reliable advice.
So chat to a local about your insurance today. Call RAA on 8202 4567 or visit in-store. Issued by RAA on behalf of Allianz South Australia Insurance Limited. T's and C's, limits and exclusions apply. Consider the PDS available at TMD at raa.com.au.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Fuel cards, receipts. Why does managing a fleet feel like I'm building flat pack furniture? Without the instructions. Don't ask why, ask Wex. Wex Motorpass is the one card that works for everything. No fuss, no piles of paperwork, just streamlined fuel management across Australia. Finally, a fix that doesn't need an Allen key. Search Wex Motorpass. Terms and conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
19 after 6, James Blunt tickets in the offing. We're asking you about your run-ins with wildlife. Sally in Hillcrest, what did you come face to face with?
Mine was actually on Kangaroo Island as well. When I was a teenager, we were at Flinders Chase and my parents had gone to try and find the platypus, and my brother and I got stalked by an emu. My brother got out of the car to grab something and the emu started charging, so he locked himself in the car boot.
Your brother or the emu?
My brother. And then when I popped the boot, he looked around, yep, it was safe. He got out and started to go to get back in the car. The emu charged again, and we didn't realise the passenger window was down and the emu had its head in the car. My brother was hitting it, trying to get it out.
Have you seen Jurassic Park? Have you seen Jurassic Park, Sally? Because
I have.
It's like they move like velociraptors.
They're just as vicious as them.
They are vicious. You're right, Sally.
Oh, yeah.
Does the emu deserve its spot on the crest? Maybe that's just a debate for another day.
No stuffing around animal. Not here for a haircut. Sally's there with her brother. The emu's feels like its territory's been encroached. It's going to say, we will decide who comes here and the circumstances.
Oh, you think the emu's a bit of a sort of a it stands for immigration policy.
Maybe.
All right. Okay. Sue and Milo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Probably last year I was in bed watching Bond with the cats at 10 o'clock and I heard this squeak. Next thing, this huge bat circling above my head.
Oh.
Big bat. Cats went berserk because they thought he was the world's biggest moth. And I kind of stumbled out of bed and managed to get him in the lounge room and shut the cats in the kitchen. And for the next 45 minutes, I was sort of waving a butterfly net at him because I know you can't grab them, can't handle them. And he kept zooming above my head, squeaking. And, I'm tripping over furniture in a dressing gown and bunny slippers. And every time he came at me, I kind of waved the net at him, and I managed to finally get him to fly low enough because he woke up the budgie, who was getting upset, and I managed to coax him into the porch eventually and finally convince him to go outside. To this day, I don't know what sort of bat he was. He was very pretty. He was grey with black spots. But, yeah, it was like something out of a horror movie, sort of just looking up towards something, in the light of the television.
As you describe it, Sue, it's part horror movie, part slapstick comedy with the bunny slippers, the cats.
Yeah, it was kind of like that a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
I did look a sight, I must admit.
That is excellent, Sue.
The poor cats.
Run-ins with bats and emus so far. Lots of good texts coming through. We might get to some more calls shortly on this. 8223 for your run-in with wildlife. If you want to run in with the best that nature has to offer, of the pleasant kind, well, Lake Eyre has been in flood and it looks spectacular at the moment, but there are warnings now that it's beginning to evaporate. So there's time running out if you do want to get to Lake Eyre and check it out. Trevor Wright is an outback pilot who operates in the area that we've had on the program previously, and he joins us again this morning. Trevor, good morning to you.
G'day, guys. How's it going?
We're good, thank you, Trevor. How's it all looking up there still?
No, it's looking good. It definitely is starting to recede because of the heat starting to come through and a bit of wind that we get in September and that. There's a bit of water still going into it from the Cooper's Creek and the bird life's increasing. But from now on in, I expect it to start dropping quite quickly.
In terms of the flights over the lake, have you had a busy winter period? Because obviously with the rain, it looks sensational. Yeah. We've got some pictures up now on the Facebook live stream. But you've been doing a roaring trade?
No, it's been a great trade, and what's really interesting is the real interest in it, especially from baby boomers, whereas the last few years it's been fairly quiet, mainly out of South Australia and Vic. But this year we're getting them from all over Australia, and it's not unusual to have 10 or 12 planes fly in from anywhere around the East Coast, and more come in. We had our fly-in recently, and we had 60 aeroplanes turn up for the weekend, and the main reason was they wanted to have a look at the lake.
Oh, really? So when you say 60 planes turn up, where do they land? Like, there's no airport. What's the go?
Yeah. We've got a bit of road. No, we've got a bit of an airstrip there, and they pull up for the weekend. It was for the AFL Grand Final, so they decided to have a look at the lake, park their planes, and just have a good weekend. So
wow.
It's amazing how many people we do get into William Creek because it's halfway down the end of the track and we're the closest point to the lake. There's a road 70 k's that goes out to the shoreline out there, and it's a public viewing area.
So people park their planes on Grand Final Day. That sounds like the sort of Cessna version of what used to happen at West Lakes back in the day.
Yeah, very similar. It's just something we started about 8 years ago, and it's just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It just seems that people love AFL and they want to do something different. So you get water in that lake, it just draws people in.
Can you actually watch the game? And is there power? Like, how do you do it?
Oh yeah. Well, you get your mate to stand on the bicycle and there's a bit of a dynamo and just put it in there.
That would be a great story. Is this the best place in Australia to watch the grand final?
Well, I think it is. It's good because I own the pub too. So between the two of things, we have a pretty social weekend, and we shut off the Innerdata track. and turn it into an outdoor dining area for 2 days.
Wow. We're just looking at some of the pictures on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. It does look spectacular, doesn't it? What a show.
It looks stunning.
It is remarkable. But as Trevor says, time's running out if you want to get to check it out. Trevor Wright, Outback Pilot, as he just revealed too, he's the local pub owner. So he's got the Lake Air market cornered.
Yeah.
Sounds like a remarkable market to have cornered as well. Let's go to Nova Gardens because Trev's in an encounter with an animal. Morning to you, Trev. You there, Trev?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
How are you, Trev?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I was a Seacliff nipper, and on our usual Saturday afternoon swimming races, just turning around the last buoy and the shark siren went off. I saw a fin, and the next breath I took, I was in my lounge room.
You're in your lounge room?
What, did you get attacked, Trev?
I swam that hard. It ended up being a dolphin. But, I quit that day, and I don't go back in the water.
Well, that was it for you. How old were you?
11.
11.
Some things stay with you, don't they, Trev?
Absolutely. I tried to go back the next year, and I used to swim in the middle of the pack, so if a shark come, others would get eaten before me.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Good on you, Trev.
That's excellent, Trev.
We got a mountain of text. We might save them to the other side of the 6:30.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit after.
And I'll tell you what, the Pelican is in the frame.
Gee, not a lot for the
I'm
Pelican.
not alone.
11.2 degrees outside on the city at the moment, heading for a top of 20 today. To 2 millimetres of rain, which is sort of similar to what we have forecast each and every day right through until the early part of next week. So keep that in mind. Tops of 20 for Thursday, 21 for Friday, 20 for Saturday, 19 for Sunday, and then it's drier on Monday, 21, and Tuesday, 21 and sunny. So a pretty stable weather pattern at the moment. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Thanks to Glarderol. Give him a call now. Order a new door with operator before the end of September and receive 2 extra handsets. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Bit of footy news just quickly. Trade period rolls on today. Riley Sanders, Bulldogs midfielder, 21 games this season. Would you be happy with him if the Crows could get him?
Look, it doesn't sound like I think they want to give him up.
No.
I do like, Rennie, that they're still trying.
Same. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think Clayton Oliver, it was a polite sort of no thank you, didn't want to come to Adelaide. And there's baggage there. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
You're so polite, Tom.
It's a risk. It's a flight risk, isn't it? And everything else.
He comes with his own HR filing cabinet.
So that doesn't look like it'll happen. He'll probably go to GWS. Petrarca trying to get to Gold Coast. But the other story I wanted to talk to you about, you got a young daughter, Will. Pembo, how old's your youngest boy?
He is 8.
8. Have you got him a cricket bat and a cricket ball?
Actually, I've never used a real ball. But he's he's into cricket.
Get him into it because there's good money in cricket. And there's a story bubbling around this morning regarding Travis Head and Pat Cummins that they've knocked back offers to play T20 cricket full time because we're getting these franchises now that have, they own teams in not just India but America, Australia, all around the world, and they could play T20 cricket full time for $10 million a year if they chose to, but they're going to knock it back.
$10 million a year. What would those blokes be on? I mean, cricket, you get pretty well remunerated. What would they be on at the moment? Cricket Australia contract would be 2+.
Yeah, and then
what they get IPL. But still, 10 million's
it's a lot.
A big step up.
It's a lot.
Is there any chance, Rennie, this is sort of the ambition of a cricket-loving Indian billionaire who would like to see Travis Head and Pat Cummins taken out of our best 11?
Maybe, and I think it's probably just where it's going as well.
Yeah,
it's that global money.
Buy them off.
But, you think it's a global sport. It just dwarfs the AFL in terms of cash you can make at that top end.
So they have said no, though?
I think they've said, I think Cricket Australia will come to the party. I think they know that the end is coming for Steve Smith, Khawaja, other players. Goodness, we can't lose everybody. The faces of it would be dire for. So I think they'll get a little.
What's the revenue model for that brand of cricket? Is it broadcast rights?
Owner based.
But how do they make their money? Is it broadcast rights? Or is it how much of it's gambling, I wonder?
They make a lot through broadcast rights, but there would be a lot through gambling. I mean, TV deals, etc., would be huge because you're getting millions.
Even if you got 2% of the Indian population watching, you got more than 11 watch cricket in Australia.
I remember
Exactly.
Sunny Gavaskar's evening sports program in India was the most listened to radio program in the world, and his average audience a night was over 100 million people. It's not a joke.
It's incredible, isn't it?
100 million a night.
It's insane.
100 million. That's more than us, isn't it?
It was called. I think the program was called Sunny by Night. Hey, he just pipped us. We were there for a while.
Yeah, if you want to get a live read on there, you're going to have to pay a bit of money.
Yeah, exactly right. Good on you,
I
Eddie.
know what a Wole is paying in Mumbai.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A shower or two and 20 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A popular surf spot off Kangaroo Island has recorded another shark attack. A man aged in his 50s underwent emergency surgery yesterday after a double bite from a bronze whaler at the notorious sewer. He remains in hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. There was another shark attack at D'Estrées Bay in 2020. New job advertisements are at their lowest level since 2021. Data from Indeed shows job ads fell 3.3% in September, the largest monthly drop since February last year. Vacancies are also at their lowest levels since the pandemic. We're being urged to watch our credit card spending in the lead up to Christmas. RBA data shows the nation's total personal credit card debt has reached $17.9 billion. CanStar's Sally Tyndall says consumers need to plan how to pay their credit card off.
Cut up the card, cancel the account, move your debt onto something like a personal loan that forces you to pay back the full amount in equal transactions, typically without the temptation to add to it again.
Psychologists are calling for more funding to support children's developmental needs. They want the federal government to fund Medicare rebates for GP assessments and strengthen the psychology workforce. Australian Association of Psychologists President Sarah O'Doherty says a lack of resources means many children are left behind.
The more funding and support we can give to children and to their families in those early stages are going to be lifelong additions to their ability to be productive and happy and healthy members of society.
Victoria will launch its new tourism strategy today as it struggles to attract visitors. More from Brian Wilson.
The taxpayer-funded multi-million-dollar strategy is meant to stop the state's declining tourism numbers, which are the lowest in the nation. But the focus is more about glossy promotion than product, and regional Victoria has again been left behind. Consultation sessions repeatedly identified problems, such as a lack of visitor wayfinding signage, poor infrastructure, and stalled major projects such as Hanging Rock in central Victoria, which has been in limbo for years. A spokesperson said they are matters for other parts of government and are not considered in the new tourism strategy.
The best of Adelaide fashion will be on display this week. Emerging and established local designers will showcase their wares over the next 5 days, along with a host of special deals at retail outlets. Spokesman for the Adelaide Fashion Festival, Michael Rossi, says the industry contributes more than $200 million a year to the state's economy.
So it's a really significant industry, and we're talking everything from not just the retailers that we see and where we love to go shopping, but the manufacturing, all of the aspects behind the industry, and the job creation is quite significant as well.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Former Essendon player David Zaharakis has described the club as a rabble and near rock bottom, saying the captains he played under, Jobe Watson and Dyson Heppel, would never have considered walking away like current skipper Zach Merritt, who has met with Hawthorn. Day 3 of the trade period today is tipped to bring some bigger deals. St Kilda is expected to secure Sam Flanders, which could set off more dominoes as the Suns hunt Christian Petrarca, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, and still have interest in Wantaway Blue, Charlie Curnow. The Crows, meantime, have flagged interest in Tasmanian Riley Sanders, who plays with the Bulldogs. Well, South Aussie cricket coach Ryan Harris admits the team needs to be sharper in key moments to avoid tight losses. SA went down to Victoria by 4 wickets as it began its Shield defence with a loss at Adelaide Oval. Harris lamenting some key moments that let the team down.
And we're just not quite polished on our performances in certain periods of the game, and that's probably what's cost us in this game and our 2 one-days so far.
SA will take on Victoria in another one-dayer tomorrow as they still search their first win of the season. To racing, Kiying Rising has impressed in a barrier trial he had at Randwick as preparations continue. That's ahead of the Everest, which will be run on Saturday week. Trainer David Hayes telling reporters he's a horse that's adored back in Hong Kong, where he's won 13 consecutive races.
In Hong Kong, he's a bit of a cult hero there, and becoming more so every win he has. So there's been some great horses in Hong Kong, and he's right up there with them. He's the best horse I've trained.
That's a massive rap from a really good trainer, and that is the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
Heading for a top of 20 today with a shower or two tomorrow and 20, a shower or two again on Friday, 21. Right now it is 11 degrees on FIVEAA, always Adelaide.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7 in an hour's time. Sean Fuster's going to join us on the program. Also, David Koch, looking forward to talking footy and all things money with Koshy before 8 o'clock today. Lots of texts coming through from people who have been savaged by wildlife, or in some cases slightly scared by wildlife, but all entries for the James Blunt tickets this morning.
Here we go. My daughter, this is from Andrea in Salisbury North. My daughter couldn't understand why a dog was going off in the kitchen at 3 a.m. She got up, they found 2 possums in there running around. They'd come through the doggy door. It was total mayhem and hilarious trying to get them out. Another one here from Katrina in Hallett Cove. Dave, my best mate, tells his story often of his hatred of pelicans. When he was about 3 years old, one tried to eat him and his dad had to save him. Rob in Clearview thinks that the emu represents Bob Catter on the national coat of arms. There you go, let 1,000 flowers bloom. And Mark in Parahill said that he got pooed on by a pelican at Goolwa when he was a kid, and he said, my entire foot disappeared. So many more. Jared says, I clearly remember being chased by the many animals in the old Adelaide petting zoo back in the 90s. The bag of feed ripped clean from my hands. I still have nightmares to this day. Good on you, folks. Keep them coming.
Not a lot of love for the pelican coming through at all.
No.
This morning.
No.
Pelican's been fairly poor representation for its species in this talk of this morning. We'll give away those James Blunt tickets by 7 o'clock. Yesterday, the state government wrapped up its handback of knives, machetes, swords and other prescribed weapons. More than 3,000 have been surrendered to South Australian Police. In fact, 3,508 between the 1st of July and the 30th of September, and about 38 weapons per day. The Attorney-General, Kai Ma, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Attorney General, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
So, Attorney, thanks for joining us. It's a hell of a lot of weapons in the community. Is there any intelligence as to the reason people had them? Surely they're not all troublemakers who went, maybe you better get rid of a machete. A lot of these people they'd be family heirlooms, historical items, antiques.
Yeah, no doubt. Not all of them would have been people who wanted to use them to commit offences. A lot of them would have been a sword someone had in the family or had picked up as a tourist item somewhere, or a knife that's no longer needed, or even a machete that may have been used for something once but's no longer needed. So you're right, it's a huge number, and it is really pleasing to see South Australians wanting to do the right thing. Almost 40 a day have been handed in over the 3-month surrender period. So that's 3,500 machetes, knives, swords. We saw knuckle dusters, ninja stars, all sorts of things that are no longer in the community and could no longer be used to commit offences or fall into the wrong hands.
I hate to sound cynical, Attorney General, but isn't it most likely that almost entirely they were handed back by people that had no prior criminal convictions and no intent to actually cause any offence? They were probably law-abiding people that got scared into returning them because of the threat that these things were now illegal?
I'm sure that there were many that was the case for, but that doesn't mean that just because it's currently, or was it 3 months ago, in the hands of someone who had no intent to do something wrong with it, it doesn't mean that weapon wouldn't have fallen into the hands of someone who did have an intent to do something wrong with it. So not having these sorts of dangerous weapons in the community, where just because it's in someone's care and control one day doesn't mean it won't be in someone else's the next day, I think is a very good thing for South Australia.
I guess the thing too is that the flip side is that police have been doing all of these raids in shopping malls across town over the last couple of weeks, and I mean even Burnside Village has been turning up weapons.
They have. So earlier this year we introduced legislation. We now have by far the toughest knife laws anywhere in the country. A part of that was declaring swords and machetes prohibited weapons, but another really important part was giving police more power in declared precincts. So the police have declared 11 shopping centres now declared precincts and have run operations where they can now use that handheld metal detector to scan people to see if they've got knives on them. And I think, if my memory serves correctly, from just over a week ago, there were 3 knives that turned up when they conducted such an operation in Burnside.
Yeah, well, we certainly don't want to see the sorts of scenes that have been far too common in Victoria happening here in SA. The Attorney-General, Kaya Ma, thank you for joining us this morning.
Cheers.
18 minutes to 7. Russell and Lockleys is on the line with an animal encounter and a chance to win James Blunt tickets. Morning to Russell.
Good morning, chaps. I'll tell you what, this one was, I was on a footy trip down to Port Elliot, and in the morning I was feeling a bit worse for wear, so I went to a local shop and grabbed a roll, and I'm walking down towards the ferry at that time, whatever it was, and I had this roll in my hand, and a seagull came and grabbed it out of my hand, and about 100 proceeded to attack me.
They hunt in packs.
I vision the birds, mate, and I just threw this roll on and said, you can bloody have it.
No, they're aggro. Crikey. Good on you, Russ. Jim in Golden Grove, Jim and Russell could form a support group, or rather Jim in Golden Grove's wife could join Russell in the support group, because Jim writes, "Morning, boys. My wife was attacked by about 20 seagulls when she bought a hot dog at SeaWorld on the Gold Coast. They snatched the whole thing out of her hands, and it was like something from an Alfred Hitchcock film." They get very cocky, don't they?
Yeah, you don't want to go those areas where they're too used to people.
You know, there's a bloke in a white ute who sits every day in the car park at Pearl, on the bend at the first ramp, the northern ramp at Aldinga. He sits there with hot chips, and his car, the birds, they know him. He's completely covered in seagulls. He just sits there hand-feeding seagulls out of his car.
Well, I think I've told the story before on air that I remember vividly as a kid going to the Largs Bay kiosk. We'd go to the beach there all the time, and there used to be a guy that would walk around and the seagulls would land on him, and they'd all be standing on it because he'd feed them every day, and they'd stand on his head, they'd be on his arms and so forth. It was just sort of a regular fixture down that way. Keep them coming in because we've got those James Blunt tickets to give away before 7 o'clock this morning. 8223 or text us on 0448 08 13 95. Wildlife encounters inspired by that remarkable story of survival, the surfer off KI at Destries Bay who was bitten not once but twice by what they think is a bronze whaler, and then managed to drive himself to hospital, underwent emergency surgery, and sounds like he's going to be okay. Just a remarkable story. And so we're taking calls on that this morning. 8223 the number. Yesterday, we spoke about the appalling timing of the Free Palestine protest to coincide with the 2-year anniversary of the 7th of October massacre in Israel. Something that the Prime Minister had warned those organising the protest not to go ahead with. Indeed, Jacinda Allen in Victoria had said, don't do this. He'd warned people in Victoria. Those protests did go ahead. Jack Hahn was covering the Free Palestine rally that took place in Sydney yesterday and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Jack, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning to you, gents.
So, Jack, which one were you at? Because was there one at the Opera House? Has that happened yet? Or are you at the one in Bankstown in Western Sydney where the chap came charging in on his white steed?
Yeah, spot on. So that's the one that's happened last night. So there was a massive pro-Palestinian rally that was held in Western Sydney yesterday, and of course that is 2 years to the day since the October 7th terror attack. There were hundreds of people in the park. They were fired up, they were passionate, so there were posters and placards, a myriad of messages, and firmly in the firing line was US President Donald Trump. As your listeners would know, and you would know, that obviously President Trump has put together what he's calling a peace plan for Gaza, for the situation that's playing out in the Middle East. And these people in Sydney's western suburbs are not happy with Donald Trump's proposal, and they've also, and I'm using the words that they have used, they have described what happened 2 years ago as the terrorists as martyrs. So some what people are describing as shocking scenes playing out in Western Sydney last night, and now this morning we've got that while we're looking forward to the Opera House. So you're correct. We do have a major pro-Palestinian protest looming at the Opera House this weekend. We could expect to see upwards of 100,000 people there because they want to have a massive protest at the Opera House, on the steps of the Opera House. And this is now going to be a major court battle because, look, I can tell you this in Sydney. The Sydney Opera House obviously is a landmark of Sydney, of Australia, one would argue the world. You can go there, you can fly in, you can take a picture on your phone, that's great. But pretty much that's all you can do. If you want to set up a camera, let alone have any type of event there, you need to do months and months and months of approvals and paperwork. And this is where the courts are now coming into it because the Palestine Action Group, these protesters have said, look, we're going to do this protest here. We want to. And the cops have said, look, hold your horses because we need to have crowd control. We need to have extra cops. We just don't think it's going to be safe.
Well, there's no way you get 100,000 people in there. Like, you know, that forecourt, I mean, crowded house might have been all right, but there weren't 100,000 people at that concert. And they weren't all fired up, running around, shouting, chanting, pushing, shoving, waving placards. It wasn't a heated environment. It was an outdoor concert. Like, I think that the Minns government, from what I've seen, I mean, everyone's got the right to protest, although calling terrorists martyrs might be pushing the boundaries of freedom of speech, I would have thought. But setting that aside, there's a logistics and security argument against this protest happening, which is what Minns and the police are trying to say, correct?
Yeah, and that's spot on. So they are pointing to Crowded House in the late 90s as a reason why this can go ahead. So, look, it's actually going to be up to the Attorney Generals right around the country, even in South Australia. Your Attorney General is going to have a chance to write a letter over to the court today with what they reckon the best course of action is. That's going to happen right around the country. All the AGs are going to send in their information. The two judges are going to make up their mind. You can never predict it. It's perhaps harder than predicting the Melbourne Cup, predicting what a judge is going to figure out. So that's going to play out today, and will we or won't we see this major pro-Palestinian protest on the steps of the Opera House? It is very hard to tell. But as you pointed out, the Minns government's trying to strike this freedom of speech and keeping all sides of Sydney happy because you've got a lot of Sydney-siders that do have family in the Middle East on both sides of the conflict. So it's a tough situation for a lot of people here in Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely. Great analysis, Jack. Jack Hahn there for the Today Show covering the first of the Palestinian rallies, pro-Palestinian rallies in Sydney this week.
We're going to take a break. Police and weather coming up right after traffic.
Still cleaning up after an earlier crash in Rosewater, Grand Junction Road near Jenkins Street. Apart from that, no other major issues. At the moment, look out for works today in Salisbury Highway near Waterloo Corner Road. Speeds down to 40 k's in both directions as a result. And in Edwardstown South Road near Ackland Street, speed cameras today, Days Road, Croydon Park and Lily Street, Blair Athol. Harris Scarf mid-season sale is on now. Save 40% off air fryers by Healthy Choice. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. We're big on celebrations, so bring the whole family and let the kids loose to explore our massive outdoor playground. Every day is Schnitzel Day at the Albion. Loyalty members that have downloaded the Albion app enjoy discounts and rewards on food and drinks every day of the week. And if you're on the go, we've got you covered in our Thirsty Camel drive-through bottle shop. The Albion Hotel, your local, your people, your place.
A pedicure should feel good, and at Medipedi it does from the ground up. Medipedi combines the indulgent touch of beauty therapy with the trusted skills of podiatry, creating Adelaide's first medical pedicure. It's a treatment like no other. Your feet expertly cared for by a podiatrist, then pampered by one of Medipedi's trained beauty therapists. Because looking after yourself should feel exquisite right down to your toes. With 4 Adelaide locations, book now at medipediclinics.com.au. Medipedi, feel good from the ground up.
This year, Mannix Air Conditioning celebrates 60 years as a proud South Australian family business.
That's right. Neville Mannix started it all back in 1965 and he's still involved today. What a lovely bloke. We caught up with him the other day alongside his 3 kids and 7 grandchildren. For 6 decades, Mannix has been the name you know and trust for air conditioning and solar, winning more than 100 state and national sales awards along the way.
With 5 stores across Adelaide, Mannix should always be your first port of call. From designing and installing the perfect system to stocking leading brands like Fujitsu, Panasonic, Mitsubishi and Bonaire.
Now, they've put in more than 5,000 solar and battery systems, and because they buy in bulk, you always get the best price. And if something goes wrong, well, their fast, efficient service team, they're ready to help. Congrats to everyone at Mannix on 60 years of keeping South Australians comfortable.
Hi, Brett Ebert here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. And your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too with their state-of-the-art service centre, brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 to 7, let's head to the Weather Bureau. Chris Kent is on deck this morning. Chris, what's Wednesday got in store for us?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we've got a maximum temperature of 20 degrees on the forecast for today. There's a little bit of cloud around this morning, but should see that thicken up maybe a little bit during the afternoon with the possibility of a shower or two with a cold front that's slowly moving across the bight this morning. Temperature-wise, expecting pretty sort of consistent temperatures over the next couple of days and into the weekend. 20 degrees really sort of around that ballpark figure, and those showers are likely to sort of continue sort of over the next couple of days as well. So not a lot of change in the weather for the rest of the week, and then sort of into the weekend across Adelaide. Actually, it's all looking pretty similar from day to day.
Good stuff, Chris. Chris Kent, Bureau of Meteorology, light week at the Weather Bureau.
All right, let's
head to report.
Yeah, it's excellent. Let's head to SAPOL. Sergeant Peter Williams joins us. Peter, what happened in Rundle Mall overnight?
Yes, good morning, guys. If you thought your morning was off to a rough start, spare a thought for a man who's now waking up in a cell and not the kind with room service. Police were called to Rundle Mall around about 3:15 this morning after security spotted a man doing a bit of after-hours shopping. And by shopping, I mean breaking into a retail complex like it was his own personal treasure hunt. The 35-year-old gentleman from Glenside apparently thought the best way to beat the crowds was to sneak in before sunrise, which is quite a bold move, but unfortunately he got caught on CCTV, which doesn't sleep. When patrols arrived, they found him with a laptop and 2 key fobs, so not exactly the haul of the century. Officers reviewed the footage and found that he'd helped himself to several stalls within, and the laptop that was in his possession came from one of them. So not only did he break in, but he went on a bit of a mini mall tour. He's now facing a shopping list of charges, including serial criminal trespass, 4 counts of being unlawfully on premises, and unlawful possession. His bail was denied, and he's now set himself up for a date later today with the magistrate.
Yeah. Naughty bloke. Pete, also, a guy's been caught driving erratically in Morphettvale.
Yeah, this bloke seemed to mistake the streets for a racetrack and a bit of a law as a suggestion. So just before 2:30 this morning, patrol spotted a silver Subaru station wagon doing his best impression of a Dodgem car, slamming on brakes and driving erratically, very nearly colliding with a police vehicle. Most people would take that as a bit of a sign to slow down and maybe rethink their choices, but not this guy. He sped off, and wisely the police didn't pursue for safety reasons. But a short time later, police officers located that vehicle on Opal Avenue with a man casually locking it up. When police tried to have a chat, he bolted and was caught not far away. It turns out that running from police is a lot harder when you've got some cannabis and a lock knife bouncing around in your pocket. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, he refused the roadside alcohol test, and checks revealed he was already disqualified from driving. So to recap that, his night included erratic driving, nearly hitting a police car, fleeing from the scene, carrying drugs and a weapon, refusing an alcohol test, and driving whilst disqualified. So
big night in
if
Morphettvale.
anyone's got a bingo card going, they've probably nearly ticked it all off.
Yeah.
I like that he refused the test, as though he was, this is the kind of person that didn't want to add to his rap sheet.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
oh,
He was he was starting to run out of space on the police officer's notebook, I think. But he's been reported for a whole raft of offences and will go to court at a later date. His licence has gone for 12 months and his vehicle's been impounded for 28 days, and I'm sure his dignity has been lost somewhere on Coddington Crescent.
Well, as it turns out, it sounds like he doesn't worry about his licence being disqualified.
No, about the only thing he wasn't doing was eating a succulent Chinese meal.
Well, we can't confirm that, Dave.
What is the charge?
Just lastly, Peter, there's a neighbourhood watch meeting.
That's correct. Last night I popped down to the Lockleys Neighbourhood Watch Group down at the Lockleys Sporting Club and bounced into an old colleague of yours, Dave, from the old McMahon's Fruit and Veg days, Kent, and believe the boss was Stefan back at the time when you worked there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
They were there and they provided me some valuable intelligence about you and your history, so I'm just adding that to our system as we go. Talking about succulent Chinese meals, I think we need to have a chat, Dave.
How is Operation Houseboat going?
No, that wasn't the houseboat crew, that was the market crew. But, you know, as we used to say on Goodger Street, what happens at the market stays in the market, Pete. But
yeah, well, a little bit slipped out at the Lockleys Sports Club last night.
That was a great job and a great bunch of people to work with. Always good to have you on, Pete. Sergeant Pete Williams there from Sapole.
Alan in Plimpton's called in with an animal encounter. Morning to you, Alan.
How you going, boys? All right?
Yeah, good, thanks, Alan.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, me and my wife went to Bali and with the grandkids and that about 5-6 years ago. Anyway, we went to the monkey park and I thought, oh, you beauty. And our driver said, I didn't know, I think I got mixed up what he said, but you can buy bananas there. Anyway, so I bought the bananas, and when the monkeys see them, they go nuts. So I bought them and tried to put it in my wife's backpack. 2 monkeys just come out and jumped on her shoulder, and the wife's going, the grandkids were crying, and I said, get them off. So she had monkeys on her back. I was sort of half laughing, half going, oh, you're kidding. Oh, no. So I sort of felt pretty bad.
Yeah, they're pretty aggro. I suppose they get trained. They know what to expect.
I've seen the problem with monkeys, though, some of those places is the way, once they steal glasses and things, the way they get it back from them is to give them food. So the monkeys have turned it into a business model. They go, if we pinch stuff from people, they'll bribe it back. And some of the scenes are remarkable. Alan, you're in the running to win the James Blunt tickets. We'll announce that very shortly.
Bit of a parable for the criminal justice system, really, isn't it? You give a monkey a slap on the wrist and it keeps coming back for more.
See, this is just it.
Soft on monkeys.
Rack them, pack them and stack them.
Soft on the causes of monkeys.
This is we continue to get to new and unique areas where AI is posing problems, frankly, because it's increasingly being relied upon for everyone to answer all sorts of queries. And now people are using it and it's generating misinformation with regard to things like missing persons stories like that of little Gus Lamont. Sarah Whalen is a professor of social work at CQU and a missing persons expert. Sarah, good morning to you.
Good morning.
What are the threats of this, Professor Whalen? Because we've seen a lot. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the case here in Adelaide, but this poor little 4-year-old boy disappeared Saturday week ago out bush in a town called Yunta. Hasn't been seen since. Police have wound back the recovery effort, or the search effort. He's missing, and the presumption is he's no longer alive. But social media is just pumping out all sorts of nonsense about what's happened to him.
Completely. You know, I've been working in missing for about 20 years now. And so over those years, so many times families have had to contend with different forms of technology that kind of disrupt the ways in which their stories are told. And so AI is just a new one added to the list, because what's happened is, and, you know, Gus's case is really prominent all across Australia. So we're very much seeing it. I'm in Sydney, lots of media here as well to keep people updated on the case. Is that, as you'd know, the police have been releasing information every few days, keeping people updated. In those early days when the image wasn't released and people on social media were almost demanding that they wanted to see a picture of Gus, is that what's happened, particularly with Meta AI that's available on those social media platforms, is that it's not just pruning the information that has been offered by the police to update the investigation and the family statements, but it's also pruning all of the conspiracy theories that people comment and then bringing them together and collectively offering updates to the story that simply aren't true.
Yeah. It's a bit like after football matches now. Like you get Meta AI coverage after like an Adelaide game where there's a contentious umpiring decision, and the AI version of the game will say huge public outcry over performance of umpire and some calls for sacking of coach. And now in the criminal space, you're seeing it with people going, and I'm not going to repeat what they are, but people making comments on Facebook that end up becoming the basis for what's purported to be a news précis, which it is not.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really difficult, isn't it, when people are consuming that information. There's not a warning that says, hey, this is not from a credible source. It's just a summary or an update. So, of course, people are going to think that this is an updated piece of information rather than thinking the technology is just taking information from everywhere and providing a summary for people.
Yeah, yeah. It's a scary development. Sarah Whalen, Professor of Social Work at CQU. Thanks for joining us.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A shower or two and 20 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A man has spent the night in hospital after a shark attack off KI. The surfer, aged in his 50s, underwent emergency surgery after a double bite from a bronze whaler at the notorious sewer yesterday afternoon. But he managed to drive himself to get help. It's not the first shark attack at the tourist hotspot. Israel is marking 2 years since the October 7 attacks when Hamas militants stormed the border, killing around 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages. In Gaza, there is cautious optimism a peace deal can be reached, with US President Donald Trump insisting serious negotiations are underway.
I think there's a possibility that we could have peace in the Middle East. It's something even beyond the Gaza situation. We want a release of the hostages immediately.
New job ads have fallen for the third consecutive month, tumbling 3.3% in September. Data from Indeed shows ads are now sitting at their lowest level in 4 years. A national senator believes protests on our national landmarks is doing extensive damage to Australia's global reputation. Organisers of a pro-Palestinian demonstration planned for the Opera House will find out in the Court of Appeal if it can go ahead on Sunday. Matt Canavan says police should force protesters to rally elsewhere.
I don't think we should let our national landmarks be used in this fashion, used by people who, as I've said, have been promoting or at least excusing terrorist acts.
An international survey shows Aussie teachers are among the world's most stressed. Gabrielle Hodson has the story.
An OECD survey on teaching and learning in 55 nations has found that we have the second most stressed out teachers behind Canada. In an average 46-hour week, teachers spend only 20 hours in front of a class and the rest tied up in red tape, lesson plans and marking. When it comes to years 7 to 9, 34% of educators describe themselves as stressed a lot compared to the international average of 19%. News Corp says the data also shows that Australia is among the top 3 nations for teacher shortages.
Important genetic differences in how females and males experience depression has been revealed for the first time. Queensland scientists have discovered nearly twice as many genetic flags in DNA of females. That means women carry a higher genetic risk of the condition. And the producers of the Paddington Bear movies are suing the show Spitting Image. They're not happy with their marmalade sandwich lover being portrayed as a red-eyed, cocaine-sniffing podcast host who name-drops Jeffrey Epstein. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Trade period continues, Tom Wren.
Yeah, for another week or so, isn't it, Mel? And it's day 3 today. It's expected to bring some bigger deals. St Kilda is expected to secure Sam Flanders, while the Crows have flagged interest in Bulldogs midfielder Riley Sanders. Jacob Ware has arrived at Alberton and he's told Rowie and Timmy G coming back to SA was a big draw card.
Probably needed a fresh start. Didn't quite get the continuity at the Giants that I would have liked. A bit of security at Port was also pretty hard to turn down, given myself and my partner are both from SA, so it made the most sense.
Ware played 14 games for the Giants this season. Well, two of Australian cricket's biggest stars have reportedly turned down mammoth contracts to play franchise T20 cricket full-time. The Sydney Morning Herald and The Age is reporting captain Pat Cummins and South Aussie Travis Head have both knocked back deals worth nearly $10 million a year to continue playing for their country. Meantime, South Australia has lost its opening Sheffield Shield match of the season, losing to Victoria by 4 wickets. Well, Supercars teams will have their final day of preparation at Mount Panorama today before practice tomorrow for the Bathurst 1000. Rugby Australia has penned a joint letter with other governing bodies warning players against joining breakaway competition. That's Rugby 360. There was one game in the NFL to wrap up Week 5 of the competition, with the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28. And in the Major League Baseball playoffs, the LA Dodgers have taken a 2-0 lead in their best-of-5 playoff series against the Philadelphia Phillies. That's after a 4-3 win in Game 2, while the Milwaukee Brewers have also taken a 2-0 lead after taking care of the Chicago Cubs 7-3. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
In Brooklyn Park, a car and a motorbike have collided. That's on Holbrooks Road near Henley Beach Road, and still cleaning up after that earlier crash in Rosewater, Grand Junction Road near Jenkins Street. Look out for works today in Redwood Park, Hancock Road near Littler Drive, and in Flinders Park, Holbrooks Road near Grange Road. Cameras today, Chief Street, Brompton, and Fox Creek Road in Cuddly Creek. Notice someone with a blue nail? They're not just making a statement, they're taking a stand. Donate at polishedman.com and help end violence against women and children. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
Heading for a top of 20 today and a shower or two tomorrow 20, a shower or two on Friday and 21 and 20 on Saturday. Right now it's 12 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Recapture your sense of adventure today in the award-winning RAV4 at the new Jarvis Toyota Brighton Road, Somerton Park. With class-leading safety as standard, enjoy improved fuel economy with RAV4's leading two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive hybrid electric models. RAV4 is in stock and ready to go. Come and experience the difference and take a test drive today at the new Jarvis Toyota Brighton Road, Somerton Park.
Just about everyone's been to the Kent Town Hotel, and for good reason.
We love it. We've had a lot of work functions there. At ground level, you've got the same amazing menu in the restaurant and the Kent Bar, plus seating for 150 outside. It's a perfect spot any day of the week.
But here's something you may not know. They've got the balcony bar upstairs.
That's right. The balcony bar has everything the Kent Bar has, including the menu. It's also one of Adelaide's most popular venues for private events of up to 150 people, including for afternoon wakes.
And you get your own bar, an outside balcony area that holds 80 people, and fireplaces to keep everyone cosy.
Plus, it's completely separate from the 400-person function room on the same level, so you really do get the whole balcony bar to yourself.
So if you're looking for a great space for your next special event, check out the balcony bar at the Kent Town Hotel.
Fuel costs, receipts. Why does managing a fleet feel like I'm building flat pack furniture without the instructions? Don't ask why, ask Wex. Wex Motor Pass is the one card that works for everything. No fuss, no piles of paperwork, just streamlined fuel management across Australia. Finally, a fix that doesn't need an Allen key. Search Wex Motor Pass. Terms and conditions apply.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
David and Will, 10 years on Breakfast on 5AA. Congratulations. And they said it wouldn't last. Well, it has. You've done well. It's the thinking person's breakfast session, and may there be many more of them. Good on you, fellas.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Hang on, who said it wouldn't last? You've been withholding things from me, Dad. That was a very lovely message, of course.
It was.
Celebrating 10 years come this Friday of doing the show.
10 years this Friday, Will.
Has it really been 10 years? Has anything of significance happened in the world in that time?
Oh. You know what's depressing? Doing this job, it's a bit like Oscar Wilde's The Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Right.
Because we played a bit of audio the other day from something somehow we'd both forgotten about. We interviewed John Cleese back in the day, and we were talking to him about Monty Python lines and how you remember them. And then I said, well, John, I'm 47, and having grown up with Monty Python, we've now got all these terms like, the people's front of Judea, or he's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy, or, on and on. And I thought, I'm 47. Well, I'm not 47. I'm 57 next year.
How old were you when we started the program in 2015?
Don't make me do sums. I was 10 years younger than I am now. So I was 46.
46.
How old were you? 32? 31.
31.
31. Look at you now.
No, 32. 32. Yeah, I know. I was young. I was genuinely young.
Your next big birthday, mate's got a 5 in front of it.
How did that happen?
The march of time.
Yeah, it is. It's relentless.
Edmund Burke, what did he say? Life is nasty, brutish and short.
11 after 7, with that reflection to start your day, good morning to you. The sun is up. It actually looks magnificent
Enjoy
outside
while
at the
it
moment.
lasts.
Yeah, exactly right. Every second, you're ticking closer to the end. This is how we're choosing to remember our 10 years. No, it is... we'll be hearing more. It just took us by a little bit of surprise, that message coming out of 7 o'clock from the GG. That was very lovely. Now, let's turn our attention to some of the news of the day. Yesterday, the Attorney General, Kai Ma, announced that the embattled Edge Early Learning Centre at Plympton would be suspended for a further 90 days by the Education Standards Board following what had been a 2-week closure. Ben Gramola is the CEO of the Education Standards Board and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Ben, why the extension of the closure?
Thanks, David and Will. The Education Standards Board extended the suspension because we still have concerns surrounding practices within Edge Early Learning at Plympton, particularly around inadequate supervision, which was part of the concern that led to the original closure.
So, Ben, is it the case that more questionable practices have come to light, or is it more that you guys haven't been reassured that they've got the systems in place to stop anything bad from happening again, or maybe both?
Yeah, look, that's right, David. For us, it's probably more that we haven't got to our satisfaction demonstration that there's a long-term sustained process change within that service yet. Edge are working towards that, and they've been working closely with the Education Standards Board.
Ben, is that about putting in place policies, or does it go also to hiring more people?
It goes to a lot of avenues, including obviously number of staff, making sure you've got proper processes and procedures in place, but also making sure that, people are trained properly. And this isn't just, a matter for Edge. All childcare services need to make sure they have proper processes and procedures in place, particularly in regards to supervision, because as we know, you leave a child for a minute and a lot can happen.
So, Ben, just to clarify, because there's a number of Edge childhood centres around town, is it just the Plympton one that's had the extension of 6 months?
Yeah, look, it's 90 days.
90 days.
It's only the one at Plympton. We have an enforceable undertaking that is across the rest of the services, and an enforceable undertaking is agreement between the Education Standards Board and the provider on how, on some things that they need to work on to make sure their practices are improved.
So, Ben, what happens in the event that 90 days passes now and they don't fully satisfy you?
Well, look, there's a couple of things that can happen. One, we can extend the suspension if there's, a few things that they still need to rectify. However, if we consider that there's continued risk to children's safety, then we can also close the service permanently.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to think through. Ben Gramola, the CEO of the Education Standards Board. Well, what does it mean for parents? For that, we're joined now by Eliza Tsakiris, who is the mum of children at the Edge in Plympton. Eliza, thank you so much for joining us. This must be a bit of a logistical nightmare for you.
Yeah, good morning, guys. We, I guess, are really lucky. We've spoken before and we've had a really great experience at Edge. We unfortunately did have to move on due to it being a logistical nightmare. But, you know, going off of the previous comments by Ben there, it's really is a double-edged sword because we understand that the centre needs to, you know, get all of its ducks in line and do all the right things and show that there is legitimate change with processes to back it. But at the same time, how can the centre hire or recruit when, you know, who's going to want to come and work for a centre that's just been shut down for 90 days?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's really tricky, and I really feel for them there.
Did you have any concerns as a mum about the safety of your kids? Were there any issues with them, or you said you had a good experience there? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, we had been there for 4 years. So my kids both started when they were 5 and 6 months, and for us it was a dream. Like, I was the typical anxious mum who didn't want to leave her kids in care. But within the space of like the first week of dropping them off, I was so at ease. And, you know, every single team member that's there from the beginning of our journey to the end has been so incredibly supportive. Even, you know, down to we had a wonderful chef there named Milo. He was the most incredible influence. And for us, it's no longer about the families because, you know, as families, we're resilient. Our kids are resilient. Edge have done a really great job setting the kids up in that way. It's more so the educators and the staff there who have been absolutely working their bums off trying to get everything in order, hoping to open. But again, they've had staff that have had to leave because logistically for them it's a nightmare too because they need to work. And so, yeah, I just don't know how with an additional closure they will ever get the opportunity to A, hire more staff and B, show that there is, you know, meaningful change.
How tricky is it, Eliza, having to move mid-year from one childcare centre to another?
We were really lucky, actually. The centre that we opted to move to is still very far out of our way commute-wise, but all of the kids' friends from Edge, well, not all, it's an exaggeration, but a lot of the kids went to another centre local to them, and so we followed. So very, very gratefully, the centre that we went to made it a breeze for us. You know, obviously people are pretty understanding with everything that's going on. So, yeah, for us, thankfully, the logistical nightmare is over. My heart just goes out to, we had some amazing childcare workers who now are suffering with that nightmare rather than the families.
Well, what a mess. Eliza Tsakiris there, mum of children at Edge or formerly at Edge in Plimpton. So, this is where I don't understand this company. Like, if they've got parents like Eliza going, we actually didn't mind the centre at all. Like, why don't they get on the front foot and actually say something?
It is peculiar.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. I don't know enough about how the business is structured and works. So they've got more. Why was one particularly tardy?
Well, I think the thing is, though, for every Eliza, and this is based on the Tigers' reporting, there's been other parents going, this is what happened to my kid, and it was a disgrace.
And I suppose that time of day your kids are there, what days of the week, might be a totally different experience. All right, we're going to check traffic and come back with more in just a moment.
In Brooklyn Park, a car and a motorbike have collided at Holbrooks Road and Henley Beach Road. Look out for works today in Salisbury Highway near Gawler Street, speeds down to 40 k's in both directions, and in Queenstown, Port Road near Weber Street. And speed cameras today, Churchill Road, Kilburn and Hanson Road in Wingfield. Looking for a serious speed upgrade? Optus NBN just got way faster internet speeds for the whole family to be online. Search Optus NBN. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Aged care is in crisis. The population was always going to age. The boomers are moving into the elderly sector, and of course, they are needing more aged care. Federal member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey.
Graham Goodings.
I'm not surprised by many of the findings of their report. I spend much of my day either sad or angry about how we treat older Australians.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Woolco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Woolco pool blanket. Visit woolco.com.au.
Here's an important air conditioning tip from Morford Air.
Never give your teenagers control over the aircon remote. Your energy bills could go through the roof. Instead, for summer, set it around 21 degrees. It's the most energy efficient temperature. And if you turn it on early, before the teens are out of bed, your system will have less work to do, keeping your home cool all day. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air.
From Bruce Beresford, the acclaimed director of Driving Miss Daisy and Ladies in Black, comes The Travellers, a story that's poignant, funny and heartwarming, starring Brian Brown, Luke Bracey and Susie Porter.
The Travellers follows Stephen Seary, a charismatic and successful stage designer who returns to his small hometown in WA to farewell his dying mum. What starts as a quick trip unravels into family chaos, unexpected drama and downright funny moments, from juggling his father's demands to encounters with old friends and past lovers, all while trying to make it back to Europe for a major opera contract.
Don't miss this fantastic new Aussie film filled with plenty of love, humour and family ties. The Travellers is in cinemas tomorrow.
It can happen at any time, more often than you think. Suddenly, through illness or accident, you could lose the capacity to manage your financial or personal affairs. What happens next? Who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 7, we have James Blunt tickets to give away in the first hour of the program this morning, inspired by that incredibly heroic and brave act. The surfer on KI at Estuaries Bay had been bitten twice by a shark and then drove himself to hospital. We're asking about your run-ins with wildlife, and we have a winner.
A lot of great calls, but we're going to give it to Sue with her excellent tale of the birthday party. Yes, release the bats.
Sue won it in the telling, I think.
The bat flying around in a house, her cat's going mad, the budgie, you name it. She was wearing the fluffy slippers, chasing the bat. Horrible
the Back to Bedlam Australian tour by James Blunt, performing here in Adelaide Tuesday, the 28th of October, for one incredible night. Tickets and all the details you need at destroyalllines.com. Otherwise, you can stay listening because we've been giving away the tickets all week. If you have been listening, you'll know well of the saga of Optus and the 000 outage. Or the heads of all the major telcos were hauled to Canberra yesterday to answer questions about how this can be prevented from ever happening again. Melissa McIntosh is the Shadow Minister for Communications and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Shadow Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Shadow Minister, what role is there for government? What type of oversight should government provide when it comes to AAA? Because I don't think any of us would want to see Optus necessarily let off the hook.
You're right, and you know it from your area. It's the events of a few weeks ago that tragically 4 people passed away, so it can't happen again. And the government does have a role. So it isn't just on the telecommunications providers like Optus. It's a very regulated industry, and the government can put all sorts of things in place to oversee it. And one of the recommendations when Optus had that outage in 2023 was to have a custodian, which is like a law enforcer within government, to make sure things are going right. But the government sat on this recommendation for 1.5 years, and now this has happened with Optus, and people have died, and we're here this week trying to rush legislation through so it's got the powers it needs to try and fix this issue. So I'm pretty cranky.
So scandal number one, what you're saying, is it fair to surmise that scandal number one should have necessitated a much more dramatic response from the Commonwealth, and rather what's happened is that it's taken scandal number 2 involving AAA for them to do what they'd said they were going to do in the first place?
Yeah, you're pretty much spot on there. There were 18 recommendations. after the first one, saying this is how you can fix it. And we only found out through question time yesterday, probing the minister, which recommendations they've actioned. And we also discovered yesterday that there's been this overseer in her department since March. Well, if they've been there since March, why weren't they doing their job? So now we've got this legislation to go through, and I don't think it's strong enough. I'll keep putting the pressure on the minister. She went overseas during the crisis. I don't think that's appropriate. She left her post. She came back, and 3 weeks later she dragged the CEOs to Parliament for a bit of a political stunt. So we want to, but the politics is the politics. We need to get this right for Australians. When somebody's in need, every single one of your listeners, when they have their greatest time of need, should be able to pick up the phone and call 000 and actually get through.
Wasn't her most recent policy triumph being in charge of my aged care, where there's 250,000 Australians waiting to get onto a package?
That's correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
100. When we were in Parliament the other week, 108,000 Australians just waiting still, and it took a pressure again for the government to release those packages. So there's nothing more important for a government and even the opposition than looking after your citizens and protecting them and making sure they're safe. And right now, this minister seems to be failing at every one of her jobs she's had in regards to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shadow Minister for Communications, Melissa McIntosh, thank you for joining us this morning.
So the official timeline is Richard Bean composed a report featuring the 18 recommendations Melissa McIntosh just spoke about into the November 2023 Optus outage. They came out in April 2024, and at the time the government said we accept all of those recommendations, one of which was for a custodian to oversee all this. That person's been working, but without any legislative power.
So a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And now the legislation's been tabled in Parliament.
How can they be working without any legislative power? Are they sort of like...
They're administrative.
Volunteer.
Yeah, well, I think they can say things, but you can't... Yeah. They can give you some... They can, make some really angry phone calls.
Yeah. Naughty.
You better not be not answering emergency calls.
Or, you know what?
Yeah, I'll be really, really disappointed.
Dirtier than you know what. Darker. Yes, indeed.
5AA News is coming up. Sean Fuster will join us shortly. We'll go around the courts with Sean and David Koch on the program too before 8 o'clock.
A new battery rebate is here, and it's a game changer. The Cheaper Home Batteries program with NRG Solar makes smart storage more affordable than ever. Eligible homes and small businesses can save thousands, and households could slash power bills by up to 90% with a solar and battery combo. NRG Solar will guide you through and lock in the rebate before the masses catch on. Head to nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160. Don't wait. The smart move is to act now.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At FIVEAA Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, FIVEAA Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for FIVEAA Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Now, home maintenance can be a pain. You need to know a plumber, an electrician, a handyman and a renovator, or you could swap all those numbers for just one, Precise Plumbing and Electrical.
From plumbing and electrical work to pipe relining, bathroom renovations and handyman services, they're your one-stop solution with 25 years' worth of happy customers.
They'll service all areas of Adelaide and be there on time every time with an expert in your field of need, ready to do top-notch work. In fact, they're so confident in their expertise, their workmanship comes with a lifetime warranty.
With free quotes and upfront fixed pricing, Precise Plumbing and Electrical is a name you can trust and the only name you need to remember. Visit preciseservices.com.au.
On the Cow IQ test, Fluorio milk cows come in at around 100, pretty much the national average. But when it comes to the milk our SA cows produce, it's unmatched. You don't need to be a cow Einstein to produce some of the best milk in the country. You do need the perfect grazing conditions, and the milk needs to be bottled on site and on shop shelves within hours. It doesn't get any fresher, any better, or any more SA than Fluorio Milk Company.
Is stress making your muscles tense and your nights restless? Caruso's new Super Magnesium Plus Ashwagandha to the rescue. With 6 forms of magnesium, Caruso's Super Magnesium Plus Ashwagandha supports muscle relaxation, relieves symptoms of stress and promotes deep sleep. So if you're tired of tense muscles and sleepless nights and can't wait for calm, comfort and peaceful relaxation, try Caruso's Super Magnesium Plus Ashwagandha today. From leading pharmacies and health stores, always read the label and follow the directions for use.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A shower or two and a top of 20 today with a 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A surfer is lucky to be alive after being bitten by a shark on the leg not once but twice while riding the waves off Kangaroo Island. The man, aged in his 50s, had the close encounter with the bronze whaler yesterday at D'Estrées Bay. He was able to drive himself to hospital and underwent emergency surgery. There was a shark attack at the same spot in 2020. A man was arrested in a retail complex in Rundle Mall in the early hours of this morning. He'd allegedly gained entry to several stores, a laptop among the stolen items. Sergeant Peter Williams says the 35-year-old from Glenside will front court today.
He's now facing a shopping list of charges, including criminal trespass, 4 counts of being unlawfully on premises and unlawful possession. His bail was denied and he's now set himself up for a date later today with the magistrate.
2 hackers have been arrested in Britain for targeting a nursery chain database. The 17 and 22-year-old allegedly accessing data about 8,000 children, the pair stealing pictures, names and addresses. They contacted some parents to try and extort money from the chain. Australian teachers are the second most stressed out in the world behind Canada. A global study shows the OECD average for teacher stress is 19%. In Australia, it's 34%. Education expert Adam Voigt says a lot of it goes back to parents.
I think we've got parents who, unfortunately think they're experts on education because they've used the system, which I often make the rather crude jokes, a bit like saying that if you've used a toilet, you're a plumber. Using the system doesn't make you an expert on the system. Our teachers are the experts, and it's time we started treating them like professionals.
Donald Trump insists serious negotiations are ongoing to end the war in Gaza as Israel marks 2 years since the October 7 Hamas attacks. Mimi Becker reports.
It is now the second day of peace deal negotiations in Cairo. Representatives are trying to secure the Israeli hostage release in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. At the same time, people have been gathering at the site of the Nova Music Festival and Hostages Square in Tel Aviv to mark 2 years since Hamas's deadly attack on Israel. Friends and relatives of the victims paying tribute with photos and flowers. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says the death toll has risen to more than 67,000 people, while residents say they're cautiously optimistic a peace deal will be reached despite ongoing heavy bombing from tanks and planes.
And the Nobel Prize for Physics has been awarded to 3 American scientists, the trio from the University of California, recognised for quantum computing advances. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The AFL trade period continues today and departing Melbourne star Clayton Oliver has taken a swipe at the club as he ponders his next footy home. The Premiership Demon saying he likes the facilities better at Collingwood and GWS after touring the clubs. Meantime, the Crows have flagged interest in young Bulldogs midfielder Riley Sanders. Let's go to motorsport. Craig Lowndes will this weekend equal his hero Peter Brock's mark of 32 starts in the Bathurst 1000. In his final Bathurst for 888 Racing, Lowndes says he owes a lot to the late great Brock, king of the mountain.
I didn't start off this journey thinking of all those numbers. No one ever does. But, to match Brock now. And he was the one that helped me enormously back in 94 to understand the mountain, to understand what it needs, to respect it.
SA has lost its first Sheffield Shield match of the season, going down to Victoria by 4 wickets. Jordan Buckingham almost claimed a hat-trick, but a tough chance was put down. The man who was dropped, Ollie Peake, then guided the Vicks home with an unbeaten 70. SA coach Ryan Harris full of praise for the teenager post-match.
The young fella batted pretty well. Peaky batted really, really well. There's a fair bit of talent there, I would have thought. Obviously, not against us, but it's nice to see an 18-year-old win the game for his state. I think that's a huge win for Australian cricket, let alone Victorian cricket.
Socceroos legend Mark Bosnich believes that Ange Postecoglou needs to go back to basics. The Aussie manager is under big pressure at Nottingham Forest, still winless after 7 games. Bosnich telling Wide World of Sports how he thinks Postecoglou can turn things around.
Get the team in the room and go through them one-on-one and say, what are your strengths? And let everyone say what their strengths are and then devise a plan and a way of playing around those strengths.
He's fast running out of time. Mel needs a win. That is the 5AA Sport.
He does. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Still cleaning up after an earlier motorbike crash in Brooklyn Park. That's on Holbrooks Road at Henley Beach Road. Look out for works today in Hillier, Anglevale Road near Stedman Heath Road. Speeds down to 40 k's in both directions. And in Salisbury East, Bridge Road near Hazel Road. And check your speeds today, Cavern Road in Jepps Cross and Hartley Road in Flinders Park. Do you or someone you care for need complex mental health support? Sane can help. Choose from a range of free digital and telehealth support services. Visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
A shower or two and 20 today, the same tomorrow, then Friday a shower or two, 21 and 20 on Saturday. Right now it's 12 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
First of all, David and Will, nearly said Matt and Dave, but David and Will, first of all, thanks for the free top. Fantastic. I love freebies. Thank you for your Brekkie program. It's terrific. You've got a great bond on air, great dynamic, and you deserve every bit of success. Go AA Brekkie!
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Well, 10 years is a long time in breakfast radio, but could you imagine playing that bit of audio to us 10 years ago when Matt Abraham was our sworn enemy?
I know, that's right.
Amazing.
We had an occasionally fractious relationship back then.
Yeah, a bit of back and forth between us and the national broadcaster.
Niggle.
But look, time heals all things. That was magnificent, Matt. Thank you very much. Very generous of you.
Lovely words, Matt.
It's 23 minutes to 8, and someone who's been with us on the journey the entire time is Sean Fuster. Let's go around the courts.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
Pretty much the whole time, Sean. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Happy 10th anniversary to me almost.
Yeah.
And you guys as well.
Yeah. Well, ours is Friday.
Seriously though, Sean, this was one of the very first segments that Will and I locked in.
I still remember the text that I got from you saying, hey, Will and I would like to have you on radio. Would you come in? And at that point, I was so worried about doing things like that. I'm like, all right, I'll come in once. And I haven't had a full Wednesday's morning sleep since.
Because I can remember it too, because you came on, and after you came on, Will said to me, how good's that bloke? And I said, yeah, I worked with him for years. He's bloody excellent. And then it was like, here you are.
No, I'm glad to be here.
Awful.
And look, seriously, guys, congratulations. It's brilliant that you've been on this long. I'm very grateful to have been along for the ride. And I know a lot of the people that myself and even Daniel have helped out through Just Lawful. I mean, Just Lawful wouldn't exist without this show and you guys sort of being the godparents that got that through. So all the victims and survivors of crime that have worked with us over the years are really grateful for this show and this platform.
Well, you've got a story this morning, and that's very kind of you, very generous of you to say, Sean. You've got a story this morning that it's a sort of conclusion to a story that started 10, 11 years ago.
Well, look, I wish it was a conclusion, but it really isn't, because it's really just finally getting past a goalpost that in all rights should have been dealt with a very long time ago. The 2014 crash at the bottom of the Southeast Freeway that killed Tom Speece and Jackie Byrne, that left another person injured, that left truck driver without a leg. You'd think that would be over by now. You think that would be dealt with. But over the course of this show and also the advertisers' coverage, we've talked about the fact that the coroner did an emergency coronial inquest and recommended that the speed be limited on the down track for all trucks. We talked about the fact that the charges were eventually dropped against the driver because it turned out the brakes of the truck were not working and no force in the universe could stop that truck once it started rolling.
There was nothing he could do.
Nothing he could do. We talked about the fact that Cleanaway, the company involved, the charges there were dropped, the criminal charges, for the same reason. Then we talked about the fact that the maintenance company came out and made allegations in the district court that they warned Cleanaway 25 days before the crash that the brakes were maggoted and that they should have been doing something about it then. What we've been waiting on all this time since is the regulatory offences. Comcare, the Commonwealth regulator, has been pursuing Cleanaway, saying you failed to train the driver. The driver could have had a buddy in the car with him. They could have been taught to, if the brakes aren't working, head straight for the arrestor bed. There's so many other things you could have done in his training. He gave evidence and said, I had 2 days training in an automatic and I never went down the freeway. This thing was manual and I was taking it down the freeway on day one with 8,000 litres of raw sewage in it. That truck ended up going 151 k's an hour by the time it hit Mr. Speece and Miss Byrne at the bottom of the freeway.
Because, put it in the driving a car context. These days, most people don't learn how to drive on a manual. When I was growing up, everyone did it on a manual.
That's all right.
I'd be surprised if more than 10% of people learn on a manual now.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, I did.
Did you learn on an automatic, Will?
Yep.
Yeah, I learned on a manual.
I got taught to drive a manual by the photographers at the Tizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a car is lethal enough, let alone a truck.
Well, it's an 8,000 litre sewage bomb at 151 kilometres an hour. It's a missile.
So there's just to go back to who's responsible for this component. So they've been pursued by the regulatory bodies.
Yep, that's right.
So who's dragged the chain? Because often when we talk to you about cases with this long lead time, we're saying, there's a backlog in the court. This is not a backlog in the court. Is this just how long it has taken to put together the case?
That's a really interesting question that I don't know whether I can answer, but I can certainly tease out the facts with you because you had the Magistrates Court find them guilty, Cleanaway this is, of 8 charges. They challenged that on appeal. The appeals court came back and said, we'll knock down 6 of the verdicts, but 2 of them you have to wear. You are guilty of these 2. Cleanaway then appealed that appeal, saying it was incorrect. That was in November of 2022. Last week, we got the appeal judgment. Okay. Last week. So 3 justices of the Supreme Court have had this matter before them for consideration since November of 2022. And it's only just this month that a judgment has finally come back saying, no, the original appeal judgment was correct. You have to wear those 2. You're now facing a maximum $3 million fine. But we've had all that time in between.
Wow.
How harrowing and draining emotionally for the families of the 2 people who lost their lives, though, to witness this sort of protracted, decades-long orgy of finger-pointing unfolding before the courts, where it almost sounds like, tactically, every single person involved in this has been trying to say, well, if you look at what the other guys were doing.
There's been a lot of that. There's been an absolute lot of that. And look, the civil proceedings for wrongful death and things like that have been stymied by this at various times. There's talk that some of the coronial processes have had to wait. There may even be death and injury certificates that still haven't been issued all these years later as a result of the fact that everyone further down the chain has to wait until this part is dealt with. This is supposed to be the fast part. And again,
that can affect, sorry to jump in, but can't that affect, because things like wills and that,
That's right, yeah.
Can't that affect things like releasing money from estates and so forth?
Absolutely can.
I'm not suggesting at all this is some craven money-making exercise for anyone, but if you've still got a family to run and you've lost your partner...
That's right. All of that's there as well. So the trauma that continues on from that moment has no chance of, nobody truly gets closure anyway, but there's no ending to this segment of it. Even now, it's not over. You were saying at the top of the segment, we've finally reached the conclusion. Well, we haven't. It's just that Cleanaway's now run out of appeals.
Yeah.
So now it goes back to the Magistrates Court for sentencing submissions, and then a magistrate needs to go away and come back with a sentence. But here's the thing. The magistrate that heard it has now retired, which means whoever is seized of it next has to be brought up to speed. And that's no fault of that magistrate. They're going to need that background material.
So it's not the end, it's the beginning of the end, maybe.
The beginning of the end. It means that the sentencing submissions are going to be longer and more arduous than they normally would be because you're busy informing a brand new person.
You mentioned there was 2 charges that they have not been able to...
That's right.
The 2 raps they've not been able to get away from. So one has to do with the training of the driver?
Both of them are. They're both different versions of that in terms of regulatory style. You didn't meet this section of the Act, you didn't meet that section of the Act. But the ballpark effect of it is you didn't train this person. There was so much else you could have done and you still failed to train them adequately. Even if, regardless of whether the brakes failed or not, there are things that you could have taught this man that might have lessened the impact.
It's a huge case and it's one that has affected a lot of things. I mean, even down to things like the speed limit on the South Eastern Freeway.
Well,
a lot of
we
things
could
have
deal with
changed
that
since
straight
then.
away. You know, the coroner was able to deal with that. There was this rush of emergency, and in a good way, rush of emergency effort to fix things at the time. And now here at the tail end, it's just dragging on.
Hey, Sean, thank you for that. And as always, it's actually like a really good example of the type of work that you've done with us for the last 10 years. We know from the feedback we get from our listeners, people, when we see them, you know, bump into them at the shops or whatever, and they're, oh, g'day, you know, love the show. And so many people say, I really love Sean's segment. So it means a lot to a lot of people.
Thank you, everyone.
And we look forward to it continuing for another decade.
Yeah, although not next week, as we just learned out.
No, not next week. Not next week. Next week I'm off doing fun things for a change. But yeah, thank you, boys. Thank you, everybody out there. And yeah, absolutely. I'll see you in a fortnight.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Good on you, Sean.
Still cleaning up after that earlier car motorbike crash in Brooklyn Park, Holbrooks Road at Henley Beach Road. Look out for works today in Salisbury East, Bridge Road near Melville Road, and in Queenstown, Port Road near Webber Street. And check your speeds today, Days Road, Croydon Park, and on the Port River Expressway in Wingfield. Get the price you really want with Ford's great drive-away deals on a selection of vehicles across the range. Get to your participating local Ford dealer now while stocks last. See ford.com.au for T's and C's. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
This week, welcome to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings notch up 10 years together on 5AA Breakfast.
Do we have to be sensible and statesmanlike now that you've got the top job?
Well, mate, that's beyond your pay grade.
Tune in all week as we reflect and relive some of the great moments of David and Will's decade of breakfast.
Who designs cars without CD players anymore?
Whose pocket is it, though?
Any pets.
Yeah, I know.
10 years of David and Will.
Stop, hammer time.
This week,
Come on, pandas.
on 5AA Breakfast.
Separation, parenting disputes, property division. Family law is emotional and complex, but you don't have to face it alone. I'm Ben Thilthorpe from BTD Lawyers, and we're here to stand with you. With professional expertise, personal service, and proven results, we'll guide you through every step with care, clarity, and confidence. Book your obligation-free consultation today. Barbara Thilthorpe Daniel Lawyers, specialising in family law. Visit btdlawyers.au.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Now, this is important. South Aussies are being urged by our Premier, by South Australian senators and government to back local seafood. Same message from us. And we saw Bally cooked with Samtas suppliers, and we had a whole bunch of federal MPs who went to dine at Samtas, and they did so to remind everyone that South Australian seafood is safe, world-class and worth supporting.
Government scientists like Professor Mike Steer, who we've had in the program taking your calls previously, confirm our vast fishing grounds are strictly monitored and clean. And when you buy at Samtas, you're directly backing South Australian fishers and farmers from the Coorong to the Great Australian Bight, Smoky Bay, Wallaroo and beyond.
From garfish and King George whiting to mullet, king prawns, blue swimmer crabs, flathead and Smoky Bay oysters open daily, Samtas has got Adelaide's biggest display of pristine ocean court seafood, and it's open 7 days.
And the famous, of course, Samtas 4 kilos for $60 mix and match premium seafoods, freshly frozen directly from your freezer to the family table. Keeps your household budget steady while you enjoy the very, very best. Incredible.
Samtas Seafoods, 201 Richmond Road, Richmond, trusted by generations and backed by the best. When you want the best, it's always Samtas.
Hi, I'm Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. Spring has traditionally been the peak time for selling your home. As the gardens bloom, so too do buyer numbers. But while demand is high, stock levels remain at historic lows. That means more competition for the homes on the market and a greater chance of achieving a premium result for your property. At Toop and Toop, our experience, local knowledge and negotiation expertise give you the edge when it matters most. Visit toop.com.au to find out more.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never
It's to wait. The chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club, Compare the Market Economic Director, David Kosh, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Morning to you, Koshy.
Morning, fellas.
So, Koshy, what's it like in the middle of being a football club chairman during trade week? You feel like every day's got to start with a head count to make sure everyone's still there.
This year is a bit different for us because we're really quiet in this year in trade week and also in the draft this year, and that's been planned for a couple of years. We were going to be out in 2025, largely because we've got to build some stockpile of cash because we've got to sign some pretty important people over the next year or two, and we've got quite a few father sons and NGAs coming in next year and the year after. So we've got to build up points. So this year it's not that exciting, but sort of you see so far with the trades that we have brought in. We brought in some depth in key positions and also some experience because over the last 2 years we brought in 9 18-year-olds. So we're a pretty young side at the moment with some really good talent, and we'll keep developing that.
The one thing that has been loud is the noise surrounding Zach Butters, and there's a couple of schools of thought in how you approach these sorts of things. You either back yourself in and say we can re-sign him, and we're going to give ourselves the best chance of doing that, or you get ahead of it and start negotiating a trade when you've got maximum leverage. That is, he's got another year under contract. What's the club's approach been to dealing with Zach Butters and plotting that out on the whiteboard at Alberton?
Well, the approach with Zach and Zach's approach to us is he's got another year to go in his contract. And Zach is a competitive beast. He loves playing at Port Adelaide and also with the team. And look, obviously he's one of the best midfielders, if not the best midfielder in our view. Still scores reasonable Brownlow votes, even though he's bit of a yappy player, which umpires don't like. So that's a testament to how good he is. And look, he's a key player for us going forward, and we just got to show success and treat him well, and he's good. But every player is different. They have different circumstances, and we're really confident that Zach will be a long-term member of the club. We've already sort of started talking about future deals, but he's highly attractive to other clubs and they don't mind talking about it.
So is there any truth to the report, Koshy, that Zach Butters had approached the club and sought he sought some advice around potentially being traded this off-season?
No, and Jason Cripps was pretty clear about that the other day in his press conference during trade week, but Zach's never approached us about he's settled in for next year. He and Mitch Georgiades are living together, and they're looking forward to a great pre-season.
Koshy, what left field question I wanted to ask you about the state of, I'm not sure if this is a reflection of the global economy or the local economy of what's happening in the United States, but the gold price over the last 12 months, gold historically doesn't fluctuate a whole lot. People call it a store of value or a defensive asset, something you invest in if you're maybe a little bit concerned about what the stock market's going to do or other bits and pieces, because it is gold. At the end of the day, you've got something physical there that has utility.
A store of value.
Store of value. So when it goes up somewhat dramatically for gold purposes, almost 50% over the last 12 months, some people's reading of that is there's real nervousness around the state of the global economy. Is that your reading? And are you surprised how much it's increased in 12 months?
I am surprised how much it's increased in 12 months, but you've got a disruptive president of the United States, disruptive to financial markets. Financial markets hate that. He has constantly said that the American dollar is overvalued, and that's been hurting the US. Now, a lot of central banks around the world, they build up levels of US dollars as a store of value. It's the global currency. It's the global trading currency. When the president of that currency goes, well, it's too high and is affecting the economy, central banks start to look at alternatives, and they've been looking at going back to gold. Central banks over the last 12 months have bought almost 420 tonnes of gold as a way of shoring up their currency and their economy as well. So it's an enormous reflection of the uncertainty of financial markets, and particularly the economic and financial policies of the United States, which have no stability to them at all. Each day, there's some change of mind on tariffs or buying into local companies and the whole lot. Countries and markets don't like that. Up 50%, as you say, top 4,000 US dollars last night. Great for us. It's because we're one of the biggest gold miners in the world. It's now our second most valuable export, would you believe? It's really healthy for us.
Hey, Kosh, you were talking earlier about the sort of negative impact of social media and more so AI sort of search engines that are used by Facebook and Google and so forth, with things like the case of that poor missing boy, Gus. Can I ask you, wearing your tourism chief hat, do you think that people need to sort of sort the wheat from the chaff a bit better when it comes to making informed decisions about where they can and should holiday over summer? Because we're sort of trying valiantly to talk to the experts here to get an accurate picture of what's happening in South Australia. But, you type the word algal bloom in the internet and it sounds like, I know. The bodies are piling up 100% of our coastline.
Yeah, I know. And it goes berserk. And because people inquire, then the algorithms say, okay, I'm going to flood you with all this information. And as you say, a lot of it is misinformation going through. And look, I think the education process is difficult to get the facts through when there's so much noise around and misinformation in terms of social media. The vast majority of beaches in South Australia are clear, and some of the pristine beaches around Kangaroo Island aren't being touched. A lot of the concentration is around the suburban beaches, which puts it top of mind and in the eyeballs of a lot more people. But it's just a matter of checking where you want to go. And the algal bloom keeps moving. The Premier, I thought, did a great job the other day in giving an update on where it is at the moment, and take advantage of the vouchers, coastal vouchers, which have gone gangbusters to still see and travel around this beautiful state, because for a lot of the tourism operators, from now until March is when they make their money to get them through winter. So we've got to really support them, and a lot of towns' economic well-being is based on that as well.
Yeah, 100%. David Koch, the Port Adelaide Football Club chairman, Compare the Market Economic Director, and also the chairman of the SA Tourism Commission. Always great to catch up, Koshy. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys.
5AA News, not too far away. Breaking at 8 coming up after 8 o'clock. Stick around.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Hi, Brett Ebbett here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. OK, the end of financial year might be done and dusted, but at Mawson Lakes Mazda, the deals aren't. All makes, models and colours are being cleared, no exceptions. And there's a huge range of locate demos all ready for immediate delivery. Plus, you'll get free on roads, free stamp duty, free 12 months rego and $500 worth of accessories. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Get ready for South Australia's biggest charity car and bike show, Horsepower for Hope. Saturday, October 11, the South Australian produce markets at Paraka will come alive with muscle cars, bikes, trucks, food, live music and family fun. It's not just a car show, it's a day out with free kids entertainment. Presented by the Muscle Car Collectors Club, every ticket helps the Little Heroes Foundation support kids living with serious illness right here in SA. Horsepower for Hope, October 11. Find out more at littleheroesfoundation.com.au.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A shower or two and 20 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Video has emerged of yesterday's shark attack off Kangaroo Island. A surfer aged in his 50s underwent emergency surgery after a double bite from a bronze whaler at the notorious sewer. The man remains in hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. A man has been reported after nearly colliding with a police car south of the city. His Subaru station wagon was spotted driving erratically at Morphett Vale in the early hours of this morning. Sergeant Peter Williams says they attempted to stop the vehicle. However, it sped off and wasn't pursued for safety reasons.
A short time later, police officers located that vehicle on Opal Avenue with a man casually locking it up. When police tried to have a chat, he bolted and was caught not far away. It turns out that running from police is a lot harder when you've got some cannabis and a lock knife bouncing around in your pocket.
The 31-year-old refused a breath test. Checks on his licence revealed he was currently disqualified from driving. He'll be summoned to front court at a later date. The former lead detective in the William Tyrrell disappearance believes South Australian police are using lessons from that case. SAPOL is hoping new drone footage could hold clues as to what happened to 4-year-old Gus near Yunta. He went missing from a remote property a week and a half ago. Gary Jublin says local authorities are exploring all avenues of inquiry.
The fact that they're doing that, I think lessons perhaps learnt from the William Tyrrell investigation, where the whole focus was on finding the little boy lost.
2 earthquakes have been recorded in the mid-north in 12 hours. The first at Jamestown clocked in at 2.1. The second, just outside the town, was a magnitude 1.9. Credit card debt in Australia rose by $177 million in August. RBA data shows the nation's total personal credit card debt has reached $17.9 billion. CanStar's Sally Tyndall says debt is increasing as short-term relief from tax returns dries up.
We've seen the value of card transactions really start to climb as well, and with sale season starting, we've already got sale periods like Amazon Big Deal Days currently in play.
Almost $200 million in unpaid superannuation has been recovered over the past financial year by construction industry fund Cbus Super. The money was recovered on behalf of 180,000 members. The total amount of unpaid super retrieved over the past 5 years now totalling nearly $700 million. Adelaide Fashion Week kicks off today. There'll be over 30 events during the next 5 days. Spokesman Michael Rossi says it's a chance to showcase the whole industry.
We see this as a fantastic way to celebrate our retailers, and people can get in for some fantastic deals into the city, but there's also some incredible experiences showcasing our local talent. Everything from emerging designers to our established designers who are doing incredible things.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide Chairman David Koch is confident Star Vice Captain Zach Butters will be at the club long term. There has been some discussion Butters may be traded this period, with plenty of attention coming from Victorian clubs. But Koch has told David and Will he'll definitely be at Alberton next year, and he's hopeful it will go beyond 2026.
We're really confident that Zach will be a long-term member of the club. We've already sort of started talking about future deals, but he's highly attractive to other clubs, and they don't mind talking about it.
Day 3 of the trade period today is tipped to bring some bigger deals. St Kilda's expected to secure Sam Flanders, which could set off more dominoes as the Suns hunt Christian Petrarca, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, and they still have interest in Wantaway Blue, Charlie Curnow. Meanwhile, Brandon Starcevic is set to become an Eagle, while Sam Flanders looks set to find his way from Gold Coast to the Saints. To cricket, Pat Cummins and Travis Head have reportedly knocked back mega deals worth $10 million a year to play franchise T20 cricket full-time. Meantime, South Australia has started its Sheffield Shield title defence with a 4-wicket loss against Victoria, going down at Adelaide Oval. They'll meet the Vics again tomorrow in another one-dayer at the same venue. And Australia's women will be in action at the One-Day World Cup tonight when they take on Pakistan in Colombo. Well, a $2 billion revamp of the MCG has been unveiled. A rebuilt southern side of the stadium would see a glass exterior replace concrete walls with 180-degree views. A new roof is expected to cover more seating. Capacity would be boosted by around 5,000. And Aussie Oscar Piastri has reportedly already set his sights on leaving McLaren for rival Formula One team Ferrari in 2027 as frustration brews over unfair treatment with teammate Lando Norris. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
It's a pretty good run into work this morning with no major issues on our roads at the moment. Look out for works today, though, in Salisbury East, Bridge Road near Hazel Road. Speeds down to 40 k's both ways. And in Edwardstown South Road near Ackland Street. And check your speeds today, Rosedale Avenue and Blair Athol, and one just set up then in Richmond on Deakin Avenue. One painted nail, one powerful promise. Join Polished Man to spark change, start conversations, and stand for a safer, kinder world. Sign up at polishedman.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
A shower or two for your Wednesday and a top of 20. A shower or two tomorrow, 20. Friday, a shower or two, 21. 20 on Saturday. Right now, it's 13 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Pembo and Will, Fitzy here. Congratulations, boys. 10 years, what a meteoric rise it's been. Even to the point, I just want to give you a heads up here, but I actually nominated you boys for the Australian Commercial Radio Awards in the Hall of Fame. Got a response back last week that the awards show's been permanently cancelled forever. So thanks for that, lads. Well done. 10 years, and obviously you've ruined it for everyone.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And if you think it's true, Fitzy was lying about the Australian Commercial Radio Awards being no more. He's not. They are. We didn't realise it was our fault.
Maybe they cancelled them because Kyle Sandilands kept going to them. Remember that year that he won? He won a Lifetime Achievement Award, didn't he?
Well,
he won some award.
I think there was
because a whole bunch of us walked out.
Is that right?
Including some people who worked for his radio station.
Really?
I was talking to a woman whose job it was at that radio station to remove ads from advertisers who did not want to be associated with their show. So, like, say, hypothetically, Bunnings says, we're going to advertise on that network in every single time slot apart from 6 till 9 when they're on. What a way to make a crust.
I tell you what.
They got their comeuppance last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think ACMA send them thank you letters for, making sure their department's well resourced?
Oh, completely.
Yeah. Keeps them busy.
There's probably 50 public servants who'd be unemployed without Kyle and Jackie.
Exactly right. 822 300 is our number. You can text us on 0480 1395 as well, of course, on any topic, the police home care text line. We'll get to some of your thoughts and feedback in just a moment, but first it is time for Breaking It 8.
Well, there used to be a time when if you went to the letterbox and got you a bit of alarming mail from the state government, you opened the envelope, realised it was a water bill, you'd breathe a sigh of relief. Getting a water bill in South Australia for a long time was a painless experience. Well, not so anymore. Water bills have surged, and the Premier last year said that they'd be increasing by an average, from memory, I think he said, of $85 a year to help pay for infrastructure for new housing developments and so on. Well, against that backdrop, new data is out confirming the fact that the biggest increase in complaints to the Energy and Water Ombudsman about bills isn't electricity, it's not gas, it's water. SA Water is well and truly in the frame with a surge in the number of complaints. We've got the Ombudsman on the line now, Sandy Canali. Sandy, good morning, and thanks so much for your time. The situation with water bills, it's changed in record time. They have become punishingly expensive now for a lot of people, haven't they?
Good morning, gents. Look, the billing aspect of water has certainly generated more complaints over the past 12 months. But we need to put that into context as well. I mean, we handled around 9,300 complaints last year overall. And water complaints represented around, 643 of those, of which about 50% related to billing type issues. So it's not necessarily about the quantum of the bill. Yes, it is about the quantum of the bill in terms of the reason for the complaint, but the reason may not be because of an increase or whatnot. It may be that there's been a water leak on the property, which has generated a higher than normal bill. That tends to be the dominant reason for complaints. Generally, it'll be around usage that they can't actually account for. So that's the type of complaint that we would generally receive.
Were any of the complaints weather related? Because we've had a protracted drought. We've been talking all year about how low the rainfall has been compared to previous autumns and winter. Are there any people who just complained to you because they just couldn't believe the size of their bill?
Absolutely. And as I said, predominantly when we look into it, the bill is actually accurate and it represents what's gone through the meter. But unfortunately for the customer, the problem is probably more related to either increased usage because of the weather or there's a leak on the property. And, both of those will generally cause alarm. And when we sort of work our way through those, more often than not, the bill is actually accurate. And the consumption's actually occurred.
What about power? What can you glean from the feedback you got from people's power bills?
Yeah, look, power bills probably are in a different sort of quadrant. They generally, have seen significant increases over the last few years. And for a number of customers, that's now causing quite a bit of pressure in terms of being able to pay those bills when they fall due and payable. With many of the customers, again, the consumption is accurate, or they have been moved to what's referred to as a time of use tariff, where energy is paid depending on when you actually use the energy, but there's been no change by the customer in moving their energy use around, and so the bill compounds and gets higher than what they would have expected. People falling off contracts and not perhaps looking around for better offers. All those things add up to a bill which perhaps they weren't expecting. So a fair bit of our fair bit of the work has actually been in helping customers understand how to navigate their way through the market, how to perhaps obtain a better offer in the market, but also understanding the type of tariff structure that they're actually on so that they can actually modify the way they use energy in the home.
And just finally, Sandy, in your capacity as Energy and Water Ombudsman, have you seen a stabilisation, an increase, a decrease? What's happened with the number of South Aussies in bill distress?
Look, most of the retailers, and I'm talking predominantly the energy retailers, although SA Water has a similar sort of program, first of all, they're obligated to offer assistance programs. Sometimes they're referred to as hardship programs. And what that actually means is that if you are struggling to pay your bill, it might be a short-term problem, cash flow type issue, something's happened in the home or whatever it might be. They will put you onto a payment plan which will help you through that short term. For some customers, it's more long-term, loss of jobs, loss of family member or whatever that might be. There are programs which assist people over 12, 24 months, whatever it might actually be. So we've actually seen a significant reduction in the number of customers actually facing disconnection, which I think has been very positive and useful. So most of the providers themselves are assisting customers. Where people fall through the cracks, then that's what we're there for, to help make sure that they get that assistance that they need. And the last thing we want anyone is being disconnected from a utility.
Yeah, absolutely. Sandy Canali, the Energy and Water Ombudsman, thank you for joining us this morning for Breaking It Out.
Pleasure.
The Shadow Treasurer, Sam Telfer's called in on this. Sam, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, gents.
What did you make of all that, Sam?
Oh, and sadly, I'm probably not surprised. I mean, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, boys, because to have such a massive increase into the water price in one big hit and then follow up is really a massive extra burden on people at the moment, and the cost of living challenges they're facing are really starting to, really hit the back pocket. And when we have a situation like you've pointed out, we've got a dry season and people are using more water, it's only exacerbating the problem. I mean, this is why we've said all the way along, you can't be greedy as a government when it comes to water bills, because in the end, people are going to get to a point where they can't pay it. If we're going to be funding, important water infrastructure for housing development, do it out of the government general revenue, do it as an investment in housing into the future. Don't slug the existing customers that are already doing it tough.
Do the state Liberals have, is that a formal policy position that if you were elected you would revoke the increases that the Malinowskis government put on for new housing developments?
Yeah, well, it's the bit that has been put on over and above the CPI, which we're saying isn't justified. You need to dial it back. We've said this, we've been strong on this all the way through. Need to dial back that extra and make the extra money that's necessary for water infrastructure to come out of general operations, where you can actually, like I said, get that money back over time with the investment in housing. It's not we shouldn't be using SA Water, as Labor always do, as a cash cow for more and more money into the coffers of the state. We should be doing it in recognition of the amount of infrastructure investment that is currently happening, and not using it as a revenue source for government.
Sam Telfer, Shadow Treasurer, thank you for calling in. The Shadow Treasurer's comments are in line with a lot of the feedback that we're getting from our listeners, like Scott in Modbury, our good mate Scott. And also, Scott, thank you for the nice text you sent, thanking us for our 10 years of gibbering away together. We're glad you enjoy the show. But Scott, more importantly, says, so, boys, let me get this straight. My water bill went up to pay for infrastructure for new houses, so not only is my neighbourhood getting ruined by 3 houses being where there used to be one, I'm now also paying more for that privilege.
Andrew makes a good point. He says, morning, the problem with my water bill is the charge for sewerage based on property value. This is obscene. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a lot of people...
If you've lived in the same house for 30 years
and with
the same sewage system, but because of property... The property exchanges that you have absolutely nothing to do with.
Well, it's like council rates. I mean, it's based on the value of your home. But the fact that your house might have been worth $600,000 and overnight the real estate fairies decided that theoretically it's worth 1.3, even though you're not going to sell it. How does the house become more expensive for the council to maintain? Like when it goes from $600,000 to 1.3 million, do you end up with 7 Sulo bins instead of 1?
It's not liquid. You can't go, oh, well, my house is worth an extra $700,000, so I guess I'll sell a couple of doors to pay for the increase of my water bill.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, there's nothing liquid about that asset. It's totally unrealised.
Well, we found out last week too, if you try to sneak a tenant in out the back and put in a new letterbox, you might end up getting paid, fined for it by the council.
I'll find out about that. All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to. There's a bit going on in Kangaroo Island Way, and we're going to talk about it with the Mayor Michael Pengelly in just a moment. First, we'll check traffic.
It's a pretty good run on our roads at the moment with no major issues. Look out for works today, though, in Salisbury Highway near Waterloo Corner Road, and in Flinders Park, Holbrooks Road near Grange Road. Speeds down to 40 k's both ways there. And a couple of speed cameras to watch out for just set up then in Croydon Park on Days Road and in High Marsh on Port Road. Keep your pool sparkling with a robotic pool cleaner from Clark Rubber, Australia's #1 pool destination. Find yours in store or at clarkrubber.com.au. Clark Rubber, home of the Aussie summer. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
Nick Rekasevich joins the 36ers. What did you hear about the 36ers before we wooed you, Nick?
I heard a bunch of great things. The fans from Adelaide are the best fans in the NBL.
The 5AA Sports Show.
I've been around guys who played here, and I've heard that it's really special, and it continues to grow. So I'm blessed to be a part of it. Like I said, I'm just really excited to be here.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Is it the best Beechwood home ever made? Possibly, but there's always more to come
from Beechwood. Introducing the Caliente, now open for viewing. The Caliente is a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Taking inspiration from Palm Springs and California, it's definitely a conversation starter. The team at Beechwood can't wait for you to see it at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm. Open Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4:30 p.m. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
FIVEAA Milk Company will always put SA first, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for FIVEAA Milk Company products and support our dairy farmers and their families. We guarantee that all our milk is 100% South Australian and it's always fresh. We have over 24 refrigerated trucks shipping FIVEAA milk to cafes, restaurants and supermarkets all over SA. Look for the local in your supermarket. FIVEAA Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At FIVEAA Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, FIVEAA Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for FIVEAA Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Oh, geez, it's hot in here. Can someone pass the Morford air? Oh, that's better.
When the temperature is too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air, Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company. Morford Air has kept South Australians perfectly comfortable for over 50 years. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, you can always reach for the Morford Air. Look for the bright blue building at 602 Marion Road or visit morfordair.com.au.
Morford.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes after 8. Looks like a pretty reasonable day outside at the moment. Chatting with the Weather Bureau earlier, it's a pretty steady weather pattern. You can pretty much set your watch by the fact that it's going to be 19 or 20 or 21 degrees over the course of the next week with the next 4 or 5 days.
Scattered showers?
Somewhere between, yeah, scattered showers is a good way of describing it. Dry Monday and Tuesday, but if this is to your liking, this weather, you're going to love the rest of this week. 8223 0000 is the open line number if you'd like to chat about anything that's going on in the news cycle at the moment. Lots of feedback on water bills on the program this morning, indeed coming through on the police home care text line as well. A lot of people that entered a competition we ran in the first hour this morning talking about run-ins with wildlife, and it was inspired by this remarkable story on Kangaroo Island where a man, and there's now vision of this that you'll see throughout the day, who was surfing. He was happened upon by, in fact, we've got it on the Facebook and YouTube live stream now. He's surfing, and what you will see in this video is a shark pursuing a seal. He unfortunately gets caught between them, and when the shark loses sight of the seal, it obviously caught eyes on him. He was bitten twice and drove himself to hospital. It is a remarkable story. Michael Pengelly is the mayor of the Kangaroo Island Council and joins us on the program. Michael, good morning to you. Just tell us about the SUA, this famous surfing spot in KI.
Yeah, good morning, Dave and your listeners. Look, the SUA is a well-known spot on the south coast. We've got numbers of places over here where we've got, considerable numbers of surfers go regularly. And I think this bloke yesterday is probably up for a new wetsuit and a new pair of jocks after that. It's a pretty spectacular southern coastline. It's the Jetstry Bay. Down there you have a big, long, sandy beach, and you go around a bit further and you come to these little beaches, and one of them is called the SUA. It's been called the SUA as long as I can remember. And on certain winds, the SUA works. There didn't seem to be much surf. I saw the video last night. Didn't seem to be a lot of surf there, but there may have been some time during the day that, he's pretty bloody lucky, I reckon, Dave.
Absolutely. Hey, Mike, so this part of KI, it's there's not even a community there, is there? It's like the bay, there's the bay, how do you say it, Distrees Bay, but no one really lives there, do they?
No, it's directly south of Kingscote, actually.
Yeah, right.
The road runs in a straight line straight down there. It's west of Pennington Bay. But yes, there are a few people live down there in the scrub. There's, I don't know how many would be down there, probably 10 or a dozen homes and some holiday places. There's been some long-term shacks along the coast, been there for generations of families, which are, well loved.
Yeah.
Part of it's now national park, unfortunately. It's been dragged into that mess and the sewers in that. It was part of that. But,
so the hospital that he drove to, it's in Kingscote.
Yes.
How long's the drive from Destrees Bay to Kingscote? What is it, about an hour, 45 minutes?
Oh, no. I would, 30, 35, perhaps.
Probably 20 if you're bleeding out, Michael, I reckon.
I was going to say it'd be a lot less if you had a shark hanging off your leg. I reckon you'd be going like the clappers.
Oh,
yeah, lucky, so lucky. Just
amazing.
So lucky.
Michael, from sharks to bees, I'm sure you're across the story. The state government put out some advice this morning about the wonderful and very unique around-the-world bee population on Kangaroo Island that is potentially a victim of varroa mite now coming into South Australia. They've announced a program for biosecurity checks, a Sentinel Hive program, and they're going to be checking all the coeliac ferries that go over from here on out. I presume this is something that you guys have been calling for?
Oh, look, we're very comfortable with it. Minister Claire Scriven was here Friday. She met with the local commercial producers and the ones that do it for a bit of fun in the council chambers. Was open to people to go in. I think she reinforced the fact that they'd started putting biosecurity checks on every boat, where it was sometimes only during the day, but they've ramped that up to every boat now. It's virtually impossible to stop everything, but there's cars coming down or vehicles coming down through the Riverland where there has been varroa mite up that way. So anything we can do to limit it is helpful. But these things, they'll get sucked into radiators and all sorts of things, Dave. So look, we're pleased that that's happened. It's a step in the right direction. It doesn't ensure that we won't get varroa mite here, but our Ligurian bees, as you well know, are the purest strain of Ligurian bees left in the world. So they're a pretty critical industry. We've got a hive and an old chimney on our place. It's been there for decades, actually.
Wow.
Just out of interest.
Yeah.
But no, I'm quite happy where that's at.
Good stuff. Mayor Michael Pengelly, always like our chats, the Mayor of Kangaroo Island.
We have the Care Alert Smart Dialer Wheel of
Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune in the studio with us. It can win you a Care Alert Smart Dialer. You could also use your home care package through My Aged Care or the NDIS for a Care Alert for free. Visit carealert.com.au. The way this works, we give it a spin. Each number corresponds with a birth year. If it's yours, you simply need to be the first caller through. So, Mr. Penberthy, if we can give it a spin, we'll give it a spin and try with all your might for it not to come up number 19. The number is 13.
13.
Lucky for some this morning, number 13. So the year is 1937. 1937. So someone who's 88 or turning 88 this year. 1937 was the year that Amelia Earhart disappeared. That ill-fated flight around the globe. Disappeared over the Pacific when, from memory, I think no one they had a instrumentation issue with the radio on board and nobody on board knew Morse code. So they couldn't communicate their position to anyone. And it was a sort of an oversight of that journey that they didn't know. So they were never found.
Amazing.
Someone will know better than I do. That's my. It was something like that. There was an issue on board. And there was a technology of the time that was available that they just didn't have any expertise in that would have potentially saved them, or at least been able to work out their positioning. But we'll have someone who is more across Amelia Earhart than I certainly am.
Pretty ominous year in history, 1937, wasn't it? Spanish Civil War had been going for a year.
Yeah.
The Francoists had invaded Spain and started their war against the government there, and everything was kicking off in Western Europe. Would have been a scary time to be bringing a child into the world.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, but it's paid dividends because they're going to wear a Care Alert Smart Dialer 88 years later, 87 years later.
Blame the long
88
game
years
there.
later. What did I say?
88.
88 years
88.
later. Yep. All right, 8223 is the number. Actually, on that
10
vein,
years of stuffing up numbers.
well, I was
on
going to
air.
say, I just want to read this text out because it works. It was from Kaz, our wonderful listener Kaz, who says, greetings and congratulations, 10 years of being informed, but more importantly, entertained, especially by your collective wonderful maths. You should be celebrating that 4 out of 3 people struggle with maths. Thank you for that, Kaz. We love proving our listeners right.
Hey, it's Lauren here from Adelaide. And if you're like me and you love a good bargain from your local chemist, check out Star Discount Chemist. They're all about great value and helping your family stay healthy. Go in store or online for click and collect and delivery. Star Discount Chemist. How can we help?
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
He's got his hoodie up and his head down, scrolling through his feed while strolling across the road. He's testing his luck and his new headphones. Then suddenly, he's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A shower or 2 and 20 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Video has been released of yesterday's shark attack involving a surfer off Kangaroo Island. The man, aged in his 50s, underwent emergency surgery after a double bite from a bronze whaler at the notorious sewer. KI Mayor Michael Pengilly has told David and Will where D'Estuary Bay is.
It's directly south of Kingscote, actually. The road runs in a straight line straight down there. It's west of Pennington Bay. There are a few people live down there in the scrub, 10 or a dozen homes and some holiday places.
Thousands of people have gathered in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv for a ceremony marking 2 years since the October 7 Hamas attacks. Delegations from Hamas and Israel are meeting in Egypt for a second day to discuss ending the war. US President Donald Trump says he's confident they'll reach an agreement on his 20-point peace plan.
So our team is over there now. Another team just left, and other countries, literally every country in the world has supported the plan.
We're being urged to watch our credit card spending in the lead up to Christmas. RBA data shows the nation's total personal credit card debt has reached $17.9 billion. CanStar's Sally Tyndall says consumers need to plan how to pay their card debt off.
Cut up the card, cancel the account, move your debt onto something like a personal loan that forces you to pay back the full amount in equal transactions, typically without the temptation to add to it again.
A new global study has found Australian teachers are the second most stressed out in the world, behind Canada. The survey shows the OECD average for teacher stress is 19%. In Australia, it's 34%. Education expert Adam Voigt says teachers are trapped in a vicious cycle.
Student behaviour is the biggest problem they're facing, yet we keep using the same kind of approaches to it. We try these crackdowns, we try these anti-bullying programs, things like that. None of it works, but we just keep cycling around and giving our teachers more and more to do. And it distracts them from the stuff that kind of is the purpose of their work, which means they're just not happy at work.
Females have twice as many genetic flags for depression in their DNA compared to males. Queensland scientists have found women carry a higher risk of the condition. Senior researcher Dr Brittany Mitchell says women are 2 to 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with depression.
And obviously there's a whole roll of things going on that might cause that, but this is the first study to really pinpoint the biological aspects and show that there are actual genetic differences.
Now Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide Chairman David Koch has denied Zach Butters ever requested a trade out of the club. There have been reports Butters asked to be traded earlier this season, but Koch has told David and Will that's news to him.
Zach's never approached us about he's settled in for next year. He and Mitch Georgiades are living together, and they're looking forward to a great pre-season.
Meantime, Western Bulldogs forward Jamara Ugle-Hagan is facing the prospect of a major pay cut to continue his career at Gold Coast next season, with his salary possibly halved at the Suns. Speaking on the Trade-Off podcast, Jimmy Bartell and Matthew Lloyd say any contract for the 23-year-old is a gamble after failing to take to the field this season.
They'd put so many incentives in that contract.
Yes.
Like the more you play, the more matches.
So will the Dogs be paying some of his salary?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It depends what they negotiate on the exit. They might just say, here, take this and go explore other options.
Let's go to cricket. South Australia's winless start to the season's continued after going down by 4 wickets against Victoria in their opening Sheffield Shield match. They've also lost their opening 2 one-dayers. To baseball, and the Milwaukee Brewers fans are believing they can secure just their second World Series appearance ever after taking care of the Chicago Cubs 7-3. That was in Game 2 of their best-of-5 division series. The Brewers setting the crowd alight at the bottom of the 4th inning.
Churiel with a drive, center field, way back there, and gone! A 3-run shot from Jackson Churiel, and the Brewers lead 7-3.
Audio there thanks to ESPN. That's how the score remained. Elsewhere, the LA Dodgers also took a 2-0 series lead against the Philadelphia Phillies after winning 4-3. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have upset the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28 to wrap up Week 5 of the NFL season. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Look out for a crash at the moment in Felixstowe on Paynham Road at Glenburn Road. Got works today in Salisbury Highway near Gawler Street, and in Edwardstown, South Road near Ackland Street. And watch out for cameras today, Hartley Road in Flinders Park, and one just set up then in Wingfield on the Port River Expressway. Do you or someone you care for need complex mental health support? SANE can help. Choose from a range of free digital and telehealth support services. Visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Don't miss the Built Here, Backed Here RV Expo this weekend at 130 West Beach Road, West Beach.
A top of 20 for your Wednesday with a shower or two. A shower or two tomorrow, 20. Friday, a shower or two, 21, and 20 on Saturday. Right now, it's 14 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
The AFLW Pride Round is here from October 10 to 19. Join us to celebrate pride, community and connection. Live at the footy. Tickets just $15 and under 18s go free. Grab yours at women's.afl. I'll see you at the W, yeah.
Doing day-to-day things online has made our lives easier. Paying bills, shopping, banking. It all makes perfect sense to do online. But what doesn't make sense is doing your will online. It's fraught with potential problems and can leave a mess behind. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes properly. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. From 1 to 9 yards across the Barossa, Clare and of course Gawler. You can get new and demo Ford Rangers in Clare, Mitsubishi Outlanders, Hyundai Hybrids and Mazda CX-5 in Nuriutpa, Jack Utes in Gawler, plus over 300 certified used vehicles in stock. Head to one of Steinborner's 9 locations or view the whole range at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
With hoodie up and head down, he's crossing the road, testing his new headphones. And then he's testing your brakes too. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Hi, David and Will. Jane Riley here, and I'm still in bed, I've got to say. I'm just calling in to congratulate you on your 10-year partnership. What an amazing duo you are on Breakfast Radio. I'm so proud to have been part of your amazing journey, being out on the road on the early days, reporting on the weather and anything else that was happening out and about around Adelaide. You have an incredible chemistry. Wishing you all the best and congratulations. And here's to the next 10 years.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
How good's Jane?
Well, the 10 years is officially Friday. My fear is we're going to run out of people who like us by the time we get to Friday. Jane Riley was a huge part of the show. Jane Riley is the reason we have Meat Tray Friday.
Yeah, it started with a butcher in Kapunda, from memory.
That's right. She brought the meat down and we thought we're going to give it away. Yeah. And then that's how the idea was born. And Jane is... And someone actually sent through us a text earlier saying they estimate we've given away $52,000 worth of meat over the course of the journey.
It's been going the whole time we've been together.
Yeah.
Because I think we started it when it was Jane and Mark and I.
No.
Didn't we?
Nope. It started,
you sure? Oh, no, it was when Jane was on the road.
It was when Jane was on the road.
So it was probably in our first year.
It was very early in the piece.
Working with Jane was such a pleasure, and I used to joke to her that as a little boy, I used to go to sleep with Jane. She'd put me to bed at night with Fat Cat, and 40 years later, I was waking up with Jane to work with her.
And knowing Jane, I imagine she never used that as an opportunity for a double entendre.
Jane has got the edgiest sense of humour.
Jane is one of the funniest and loveliest people ever met in your entire life. It was great to work with her
yesterday. She's great. Hey, can I just do a shout out to whoever? I've got this idea for a feature article that I want to write for The Australian over the next couple of weeks. And what I'm looking for 3 people who used to work at the Holden factory and who still live in the northern suburbs. And what I want to do is just meet the 3 of you for a coffee. Come out to wherever you are. We'll find a place that's central for everyone. And I just want to talk to you about your experience of working out Holden, the demise of the car industry. I want to get your thoughts about Australian manufacturing, about jobs in blue-collar communities, and the backdrop to it, because I've got this hunch that there's been a bit of a sort of, lefty pile-on against Andrew Hastie. But I think some of the points that he's made will be of interest to people who grew up in the Playford era as kids, knowing that there was a trade for them, there was a job for them, that they could work at Chrysler, that they could work at Holden. So if you're keen, just ping us a text and say, yes, and I'd want to come out and meet the 3 of you. Bring a photographer, we'll get a shot of you. Get your mug in the national broadsheet. But if you're keen, just ping us a text on the text line. Mental blank. What is the text line?
048008 1395. Or you can call in and speak to Paddy and
if anyone's keen,
Emily.
It'd just be a chance to have a coffee and a yak.
Peculiar for a left-wing pile-on at Andrew Hastie, considering that it was the left that was, arguing in favour of the incentives to keep the car industry.
Well, that's the thing that interests me, because it's a bit like the sort of policy overlap between the traditional blue-collar Democrats represented by Bernie Sanders, and Trump.
It's just why there's members of the Democrats in America who think tariffs are a pretty good idea. There's plenty of them. It's because,
but then you look at the other stream of the Democrats, epitomised by Hillary Clinton, glibly saying things to the people of Virginia like, "Yeah, mate, for me, there's going to be a lot of coal workers losing their jobs." Oh, that's a great message if you're at a fundraiser in Washington DC. Not a good one if you're, in the Appalachians.
Yeah. I think the most powerful thing Andrew Hastie did in that video, as we move on, and you can't do this often in politics, but when you do it, if you do it occasionally, it's very powerful. He said we got it wrong.
Yeah, and it was self-criticism.
That's right.
Because it was the libs.
It's so rare. Now, if you come out all the time and go, whoops, we stuffed that one up, eventually people go, well, let's get in someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
But if occasionally you reflect as a politician and say, that was a mistake, it can be to your benefit. And my sense is that was very much to his benefit in that video.
Yeah, and I think too that smart people in the Labor Party, the person who worries them most is him. Because it's a message that and I think there's little seeds of something. I was looking at all the results in all of the federal seats in South Australia. The smallest swings to Labor were in the northern suburbs. The biggest swings to Labor are in, Goodwood and Burnside. The more middle class, it's this sort of the left-wing party that was the Workers' Party becoming the party of the middle class. And this is why Cootes was interesting the other day when he said woke politics has been a disaster for parties of the centre and the centre-left, because it's just pushing blue-collar people. They're going, why are we talking about this crap? I'm trying to, make sure my kids have got a job. So anyway, if anyone's keen, ping us a text and we'll meet for coffee.
One thing we are talking about here that is very much front of mind has been the impact of the algal bloom, and there's perhaps a few groups that have been more acutely affected than our recreational fishers. Well, the state government are investigating the possibility of lifting bans on a number of freshwater lakes and reserves across the state, places like the Advertiser's reporting Thorndon Park Reserve in Paradise, and this will be controversial, freshwater lake at Delphin Island, where, of course, vigilante residents took to attacking kids who tried to fish there in an attempt to give wreck fishers a place to go fishing. The other thing they want to do is release more species out there. Asher Desiree is the Executive Officer for Wreckfish SA. Asher, good morning to you. Does this sound like a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we've advocated for right from the start, and something we're working through with the Freshwater Working Group as part of the state government response.
So, Asher, we're just talking about freshwater, yeah?
Yeah, currently. Yep. Yeah, so we're looking at opening new sites and reservoirs, as well as stocking a whole heap of native species around the state.
So what sort of fish are we going to release?
So it depends on the area and sort of the natural biodiversity, but you've obviously got horses for courses, so you wouldn't be putting Murray cod in small council lakes that sort of run dry. You wouldn't do it because they reach, a metre long. And also some sites are only suitable for periodic stocking on cold water species in the winter, for example, like trout. So it's really hard to say which areas and what species, but in the short term we're looking at golden perch, silver perch, and potentially even some regionally extinct species, which could be really cool.
That's a great idea. And, I think, what about reservoirs? Because are you allowed to fish like at Maiponga? I know they've got the area there where you can go kayaking now. Can you fish in the reservoir there?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually a really good site, and we're working towards some pretty exciting projects there, which I'm sure you'll hear about in the next couple of weeks. But across all of the reservoirs, you can go fishing in the ones that are cleared for that. And we're certainly pushing for a lot more access to resids around the state, because there's some great facilities that are just being underutilised.
How quickly can you turn around the release of fish into a body of water and go fishing there? Like, do you have to have time for the population to bed in or to grow, or can you release an adult fish and then go fishing straight away?
Yeah, so that's something Wreckfish SA are really good at. We're good at activating sites for immediate fishing. So we can do Murray cod, trout, things like that, and you'll be catching them within 2 days. So we did that recently at Valley Lake in Mount Gambier, and the first Murray cod got caught, I reckon, about 24 hours after the release.
Oh, wow.
But then they get pretty smart pretty quick, which is exactly what we want. We don't want them getting caught flat out. We want them to wise up, smarten up, and then they actually become a real challenge, which they are now.
Yeah. These waterways that we're talking about, are they free of the scourge of carp, Asher?
Not all of them, and to be fair, most of them do have carp in them. And the good thing about natives is they're really competitive at a larger size. So we're advocating for growing out fingerlings so that we're not putting in tiny fish, we're putting in larger fish, which obviously creates immediate fisheries and really gives carp a hit on the head. So same thing we did in Valley Lake in Mount Gambier. We put cod up to a metre in there, and instantly they started feeding on those carp hard. So they're a real good biocontrol agent, and they're actually good for the environment in a competitive sense as well.
What an interesting story. What a good idea. Asher Desiree, the Executive Officer of Wreckfish SA.
Hey, big congrats to Norm from West Beach too. He was born January 1937 and thus was eligible for the Care Alert Smart Dialer this morning. Norm, it's all yours. The Care Alert Smart Dialer, as we spun the wheel, the year that came up was 1937. You can also get the Care Alert by using your home care package through My Aged Care or the NDIS, and you might even get that Care Alert for free that way. Simply visit carealert.com.au.
Lovely message from our good mate Terry in Henley Beach. He says, congratulations on your 10 years. I've been retired for 11 now, and have enjoyed for the most every morning since. Wishing you all the best for the next 10. Who knows, the Libs might even be back by then and you can finally retire too. Just kidding. Congratulations again and all the very best. Good on you, Terry. We appreciate it.
Terry is one of our listeners who we enjoy interacting with the most. Not just Terry, I mean the style of listener who can vehemently disagree. Passionately cares about politics and things.
Totally.
But gets that that's part of the cut and thrust.
Correct. And we've got conservative listeners like Scott and Modbury.
He said through something similar earlier.
Yeah, where it's like, people on either sides of the political divide.
They both disagree with us.
Hammer and tong. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Fence-sitting ponces. But we love all the messages and we love the chat. So good on you. Terry, thank you for that, mate.
All right, we're going to check traffic and we'll come back with more in just a moment.
Still got some delays after an earlier crash in Felixstowe, Paynham Road at Glenburn Road. No other major issues at the moment. Watch out for works today in Salisbury East, Bridge Road near Melville Road, and in Queenstown, Port Road near Weber Street. And cameras today, Cavan Road in Jepps Cross and Days Road in Croydon Park. Tired of slow internet? Optus NBN just got a serious speed upgrade. Select plans just got way faster. Search Optus NBN to check your eligibility. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
Get ready for South Australia's biggest charity car and bike show, Horsepower for Hope. Saturday, October 11, the South Australian produce markets at Paraka will come alive with muscle cars, bikes, trucks, food, live music and family fun. It's not just a car show, it's a day out with free kids entertainment. Presented by the Muscle Car Collectors Club, every ticket helps the Little Heroes Foundation support kids living with serious illness right here in SA. Horsepower for Hope, October 11. Find out more at littleheroesfoundation.com.au.
Still thinking about a sea change? Think Oakford Homes in Counter Bay. New stage released and selling fast. A variety of block sizes available in a friendly community with brand new low maintenance homes plus the beach close by. Affordable packages, no surprises. Move in now or invest for the future. Fixed price turnkey packages, flat land ready to build. Don't miss out. New stage now released. Visit our display village at Encounter Bay. Oakford Homes, a statement of quality. oakfordhomes.com.au.
Tired of rising power bills? What if you could eliminate power bills forever? With NRG Solar, the new Cheaper Home Batteries program gives eligible homes and businesses up to 30% off the cost of a new home battery, saving you thousands. NRG Solar has the know-how to help you claim the rebate and design a system that delivers real long-term value. Own your energy, own your future. Call 1300 858 160. That's 1300 858 160 or visit nrgsolar.com.au now.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes to 9. The 5AA Golf Day is not far away. We're partnering with Phil Hoffman Travel at the wonderful Glenelg Golf Club on the 17th of October. And the best thing is you could be there. For your chance to win, simply head to 5AA.com.au and register now. This Friday we'll be calling someone as our lucky winner. Don't miss out. All thanks to Phil Hoffman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. Visit pht.com.au for hundreds of exclusive deals. Now, we've been in contact with the airport about an incident we've been alerted to on the police home care text line regarding a Rex flight that saw people disembark on the tarmac. It looked like an emergency situation. This is the information, though. It was a scheduled flight to Broken Hill. Now, there was a mechanical fault on board the plane. Passengers had to disembark on the tarmac, so the runway was closed for about 20 minutes, reopened at 8 a.m. So there may be delays that have come about. Perhaps not, but there was a mechanical fault on board a Rex flight that meant people had to get off on the tarmac, had to be closed, flight to Broken Hill. Doubtless we'll be hearing more information about that over the course of the day. When we spoke with SAPOL a little bit earlier, Sergeant Peter Williams gave us a remarkable account of the exploits of a burglar overnight in Rundle Mall. Well, Peter Caldecott for 7 News is at the scene and has been retracing the steps of a man who helped himself to some of the very fine stuff that's on offer in Rundle Mall. PC, good morning to you. He certainly covered some ground, this bloke.
Well, yes, this is a bit of a bizarre break-in. I'm here at the underground food hall at the Myer Centre where just after 3 a.m, security guards actually arrested a guy who was here snooping around. Somehow he's managed to get into the Myer Centre, I'm not sure exactly how, and then gone through some of the stalls down here, like the kiosks and stuff. And when the security guards arrested him, they found he was in possession of a laptop and some key fobs. And, we've just had a look at some of the security footage down here, and you can see him just wandering around at 3 o'clock in the morning, sort of helping himself, which is kind of bizarre. You wouldn't have thought this would be the place you'd break into or try and steal anything, but that seems to be the case.
So was anyone else in there at that time, Peter, or did they just find out that he was there by just monitoring the video?
Well, on the CCTV, you can see there are security guards sort of wandering around. Obviously, after he was arrested, police are here, and there's a couple of delivery guys sort of delivering bread or other goods. So maybe he followed one of those guys into the building, but it's really like Fort Knox down here, and to get in is not an easy feat. But it's quite eerie watching this guy just wandering around at 3 a.m, sort of helping himself to whatever he likes.
Unbelievable. Thanks for that, PC. Peter Caldecott for 7 News Adelaide at the Myer Centre. If I was left to my own devices in the food court at the Myer Centre, I'd go straight to that gyros place in the corner. They do great gyros.
Is that right?
Oh, it's really good gyros. So I'm just starting to mentally rank gyroses. There's a really good one on Unley Road. Yarnies, of course, in Hindley Street. Although, disappointingly, I went there the other day. It was closed for redevelopment. There's another good one near the QEH.
This could be Findon. This should be your next Oz feature.
Yeah. Imagine ringing the Sydney news desk. I've got an idea for a story for Saturday. 10 best Euro shops in Adelaide.
That'd move papers. Hey,
they don't even know what they are in Sydney.
Well, they call them a gyro, don't they?
Well, no, they call them gyros in Melbourne, but they call them doner kebabs in Sydney. But having said that, the doner kebab is a different proposition. The doner kebab is that beautiful Arabic shaved beef that's pressed into it's like a giant kofta, and they shave it, and it comes with tabbouleh, and it's it's more of a Middle Eastern thing. But because of our Hellenic heritage, the gyros here in Adelaide
is a good thing. I'll buy that paper.
It's for what it's worth. Sell significantly.
Let's check traffic before we leave this morning. Not traffic, should I say? Let's check the fuel situation. Better to be a member with RAA Road Service. I've got my roads confused. Fuel watch. The mobile Northeast Road at Gillis Plains is the cheapest. That one's still in the mid-$50s, $1.55.5. Otherwise, over $1.60, still not bad. The mobile Shido Park, for example, $1.61.5. And down south at Christie's Beach also, the Shell OTR, $1.61.9. So if you're down south, you're going to get it at just over $1.60. But as Gillis Plains tells us, out north, mid-$50s still. The cheapest diesel's come off a little touch. The cheapest today, $1.69.5. Also, the mobile at Shido Park, whereas yesterday it was the mid-$70. So diesel's come down a tick, even as unleaded has risen. That's just about all from us on this Wednesday morning. Thank you for all your wonderful messages about the 10-year anniversary that's coming up this Friday. We've heard from some former contributors and current contributors to the program this morning. So
we had a lot of messages. And also, hey, Andy in Roseworthy. Andy is the first cab off the rank for my ex-Holden worker experiment. He worked at Holden for 7 years. Mate, I'll get in touch with you. I'll ping you a text. Probably won't catch up for coffee until, well, whatever suits everyone, but for later next week or something. But glad that I've already got one taker and hopefully get a couple more.
So if you are interested as someone of a former Holden worker that lives in the northern suburbs, if you can get in touch with our producers, Patty and Emily, or you can flick us a text on the Police Home Care text line, you'll be sitting down for a chat with David for a piece in The Australian, which I think would be make a fascinating read, perhaps even more so than the top 10 Euros joints. Graham Goodings is coming up next. We will catch you tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock.
I'm going to write that, please.
Yeah, I think you should.